Welcome to the Dixie Doggers podcast. We're here to share knowledge and heritage. We hope y'all enjoy. For the best cut gear in the business, get with Dave Williams at Southern Cross Cut Gear. www.hogdoggear.com.
If you're buying or selling land, farms, or hunting property, these folks know land. Phil Wilson with UC Hunting Properties, 678-791-3483.
777 Kennels, Advanced K9 Nutrition. Vertex K9 Essentials, Advanced K9 Nutrition, beneficial to all breeds. You can contact them at 979-206-3050. What's happening, everybody? Joey Nate down here one more time with Dixie Doggers podcast.
Yes, indeed.
Doing it again. We have a guest with us today. Talked to him a while back. He was listening to the podcast. And he sent me a message. And then we interacted back and forth. And then he went on a trip around the world. He sent me some messages, videos, and stuff back and forth. Thought it was really, really cool what he's doing. Just the whole layout, the way everything has played out it's been pretty cool the way it's worked out. And so we got to talking a little more. He got back from his trip. And he's here with us now. Like, we're not doing a call in today. He came in and stayed with us a few days and got to experience some of the dog work and stuff, and didn't get to do a whole lot of. Well, you seen a whole lot of dog work. We'll put it that way.
A lot of dog work.
A lot of dog work.
That's what I came to see.
That's the thing about it. Like, it's a tough time of year. It's super dry. This is probably the hardest time that we have, I would think, as far as like just running dogs.
Yeah, when it's this dry, for sure.
It's thinking like it sucks. We got to see some good stuff, the way young dogs handled, the way they worked. We had some young dogs that are roughly between a year and a half old. About a year and a half now, and they just were blowing it out of the water. Like, we're talking running 6-7 mile tracks, staying gone and out hunting for hours at a time, and no sign. I mean, straight dry casting, just turn them loose, and then having to spend the whole day trying to go get them. Mm-hmm. That's what everybody wants. So, as far as a cast dog, so that's where we're at with those. So it turned out to be a pretty good deal with that. But this guy's he went to Africa, which that's pretty cool. I thought it's pretty cool. So tell him who you are and what are you, how you got into this. I mean, why are you here? What's your journey to get here?
Well, my name's Sebastian Larson, and I just graduated with a degree in anthropology, which includes some archaeology and a lot of cultural work, cultural anthropology, and the other subfields would be linguistics and biological anthropology, which I'm not well versed in. But there's different subfields, and my focus is mainly in the archaeology and the cultural. So I'm just now starting my career. So I went out to get some training out in Africa, and I was working on some sites in Olduvai Gorge, which is really cool, working with a field school out there to learn how to dig, like learn how to run an excavation and that kind of thing, learn how to identify stratigraphy, a lot of geological work where we're identifying the layers of the earth and how that correlates to our dating methods and correlates to how we process a site and that kind of thing, which was really cool. But I ended up staying behind in Africa after that because I got a girlfriend out there and wanted to see some other areas of Africa, and met a guy on the site who he had worked with the Hadzabe before. He'd done some cultural anthropology over there, and he asked me if I wanted to go hang out with him. And then it came up that someone back here in the States needed wanted to get some pictures and some examples of their bows for other research that he was doing. So it ended up being a cool deal. I wasn't doing a whole lot of research. I was just kind of sending some information back to the gentleman here in the States who needed it. But I'm no expert by any means. I'm just starting my career. But mostly we just went out there to hang out and visit with these Hadzabe guys. And they are hunter-gatherers. A lot of people call them Hadzabe. I'm not sure what the correct word is. I know that over there they tend to call themselves Hadzabe, but a lot of people here call them Hadza. Mm-hmm. So they're a true hunter-gatherer tribe where like the majority of their food comes off the land. They're hunting and gathering wild edibles, and they are houndsmen. They run some really cool dogs, and that was my first time ever hunting behind a dog. I've been a fan of the podcast for a long time, and I've hunted for a long time, but I've never hunted behind dogs prior to that. And then coming out here with y'all and hunting dogs, that's the only 2 times I've done it.
It's pretty cool. Because when for a lot of the listeners out there, the Hadza tribe, and that's that's how we all know them. That's pretty much what everybody's referred to them as here in the States. It's you don't think of them having dogs. That's just something that you never see that from any of the quick interviews or the social media stuff that we see.
Yeah.
And there's reasons why. There's reasons why that this really not expressed. I don't know that it shouldn't be. I think it's a great thing, but you just never think of them as being houndsmen. And and then when you told me that, I was like, you got to be shitting me. I'm like, this is awesome.
I think part of the reason people don't think of them that way is the guys who go out there and interview them for social media and stuff like that. A lot of times those guys are just tourists. The Hadzabe are very friendly with tourists. They'll take tourists hunting. Mm-hmm. I'm not the first guy to go out there with them. They're very familiar with Americans and outsiders. They're very familiar. Like they've been around it before, and they'll take anybody with them. They love to hunt, and they love to take people who've never hunted before too. And they will take guys out there. And as a foreigner, you don't do a lot of hunting yourself, but you go and follow them and follow their dogs, and you'll see them do it, which was really cool. I helped them out a couple of times, pointed out some game, but that's about it. I was mostly just watching them and following them and seeing how they do it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, and so you were there for how long total? Were you there, you think?
In Africa, about 3 months, but not all of it with the Hadza. Maybe I want to say I was with the Hadza about a week.
Yeah.
It may have been a little bit longer than that. I think it was a 10-day trip in total, but a lot of that was travel time just to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because getting out there is
it's
a journey. It's a journey. So that was an adventure by itself, getting out there.
Yeah, I bet. Hell, I can't hardly even get down to Oakland. That's the brakes falling out, and I've had clutches come apart, and I can't even get my shit in the truck right. I couldn't imagine going to Africa.
Yeah.
It'd be tough on the Toyota.
Well, that's what they drive is Toyotas.
That's why.
Yeah, everything's a Toyota.
But now, so going out there, you brought back some stuff you got with us. You're going to share with us today.
Yeah, I thought, I wish I had brought more. I brought back a bunch of cool stuff.
You got some of the stuff, and what I'll do is we'll have some pictures and stuff that we'll post on the Dixie Doggers podcast Facebook page, and then of course we'll get more in depth on some of this stuff. We'll put on the Patreon account.
Yeah.
So you can tell them what it is. And I've seen those broadheads. They look like a little 6-inch little spear.
Yeah.
With fins on it.
Yeah.
Those are
it looks
fucking bad.
When I first saw them, I thought they were for fishing because it looked like something you'd use for fishing, but no.
Yeah.
The idea with this is that a lot of what they hunt is baboons. They love hunting baboons. Mm-hmm. And a baboon will pull an arrow out. He'll grab it and pull it out.
Yeah.
If it's just a plain broadhead. So this has got some spikes on it so that he can't pull it out. And they also don't want to over penetrate. That's what they were telling me. They don't want to over penetrate with an arrow, whereas we would like 2 holes, ideally. Because that would let an animal bleed out faster. But they poison a lot of their arrows. Mm-hmm. And I'd have to check on my phone to get the name of the plant, but because I have it saved on there somewhere. But it's an anticoagulant, basically. What the guys that I was hunting with were using. I've heard there's other stuff that they'll use too. guys I was hunting with were using a tree sap that had an anticoagulant effect so that the animal will bleed out faster. Well, that means that you want it to stay in there so that the poison has time to do its job. And all it does is same thing that punching straight through them would cause them to bleed out faster. So that's what they typically use. Cool. And the arrowheads themselves are usually made in that area where I was at, are usually made by the Datoga, which is another tribe. My guide was actually Datoga when I was out there. But they do a lot of the blacksmithing. They're known for being expert blacksmiths.
You do it with their feet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You seen that video?
We'll be back after a quick break.
Quick thanks to the supporters of the Dixie Doggers podcast.
Light Hounds.
Southern Cross Cut Gear.
Phil Wilson with UC Hunting Properties.
Rankin Ranch 38 Cattle Company.
777 Kennels Advanced Canine Nutrition.
And the old Boars N Broads. No, I don't know. They do it with their feet.
They'll hold it in place with their feet and hit it with the hammer. Yeah. Yeah. They'll hold it in place with their feet. So it's pretty cool. And then they trade them to the Hadzabe for honey or whatever the Hadzabe have to trade.
Necessity. The mother of all invention.
And it's cool because all three of those tribes work together. The way that my guide described it, his name's Momoya. If you ever decide to go out there, look him up. But Momoya will guide tourists, he'll guide researchers, he'll guide anybody. He'll get you out there and keep you safe while you're out there.
Yeah.
Keep you from really more or less keep me from doing something ignorant.
Well, that's the thing, because it's a completely different culture and society there. So things that we do wouldn't think anything about over there, that might be too risque or something like that, and you get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. He was pointing out trees that you don't touch while I was out there because they're poisonous, and I wouldn't have known not to touch it, But
that would suck.
Yeah, that would suck. Right? Trees. Well, they got thorns on them, so you kind of know not to touch them. But there's a lot of stuff out there that can be pretty dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So I would highly recommend him if anyone on the listening decides to go. But the way he was telling this to me is he was saying that the Datoga, his tribe, and the Hadza and the Uruk, which I may be pronouncing that wrong. It might be Iraq, but they're not Iraqis like the nation. Those three tribes rely on each other very heavily. In order, and the way he put it, he said we wouldn't survive without each other. So the Datoga do most of your cattle rearing, most of your goats, sheep, livestock, that kind of thing. The Uruk do most of the tending of the land and tilling of the land and growing crops. And then the Hadza do most of the hunting and gathering. There's some overlap. They'll all hunt a little bit. They'll all, and you'll see Datoga farming, tilling the land sometimes, but typically they have their niche and they interact with each other and trade with each other, support each other. You mess with one of them, you mess with all of them. And they've been like that for many, many years. So he says that they wouldn't survive without each other, especially in the old days.
That's pretty cool. Because you don't hear of that. You just don't. You might see where there's a couple, because like the history that I've heard, they're always fighting amongst each other. But
historically, there was some of that. A lot of that's gone by the wayside. I would say in Tanzania specifically, and in Kenya, most of that is gone by the wayside.
I was talking to Nate. He gives me
picking at the test.
He always gives me such a hard time because I move my mic.
Oh yeah,
it's like stop moving the mic. I can't.
Yeah, I hope
he'll start the podcast intro and midway through the intro he'll move it.
That's why I put it over here and I turn this way so I don't do it.
Amen.
But a lot of that's gone by the wayside. Yeah. I would say it's pretty safe to visit both places. I would say that if you're going to go really far back into the bush, definitely get you a guide. Definitely contribute because it contributes to the local economy too, and it's not too expensive. You should definitely get a guide. But I was never felt like I was in danger at any point there.
Well, that's good. That's a good guide for sure. Yeah, because going somewhere like that to me is it's a whole other side of the world. you don't know what dangers actually present themselves at certain times. Like you said, just something simple as a tree.
Oh yeah.
So you got somebody there that can keep you straight on it, and that way you don't risk doing something just like you said, just do something ignorant and get hurt.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And
so
understanding the cultural nuance so that you don't come off as ignorant or come off as
or an ass or
come off as an asshole,
or whatever.
You don't want to come off that way, and it can be done relatively easily. I mean, I know that one time I was sitting around a fire with a bunch of guys out there, and I lit a cigarette with a lighter, with a big lighter, and it made me, to them, I think, made me look like I was showing off. Because a lot of them didn't have gas lighters.
They don't have lighters.
Yeah,
you're showing off. You got this. Look at this shit.
Yeah, a lot of these guys were using that I was with that particular day, were using flint and steel, or some of them.
And you weren't even thinking about it.
Some of them had matches. I didn't even think about it. But it looked like I was. So I brought them a whole bunch of big lighters to make up for it. But it made me look like I was showing off my wealth.
Yeah.
So things like that I wouldn't have ever thought of, and then you get out there and you see.
Now, like you said, you're talking about showing off your wealth. That's something that a lot of people don't understand, how much our dollar is worth there.
A lot.
Exactly.
A lot.
So like that $2 big lighter is what probably 2 days pay there.
I'm not sure.
Or days pay.
I'm not sure how much
I don't know,
it is, but I know that a lot of times you can't find a BIC. You find these Chinese, made in China or made in India gas lighters that I had a couple of them blow up in my hand, so I didn't find them to be a very good lighter. And I realized why a lot of people carried matches, but a lot of times they couldn't get BICs out there, so. I brought him a bunch of bigs and brought
I'm not going. If I can't have a big lighter, I'm not going. I have to take my own big.
Take your own big. Take a bag of them and give away. You'll make all kinds of friends. You'll make all kinds of friends.
I'm not very good at making friends. I'm very good at making people pissed off. Yeah. People don't like me, so I could find some friends over there. So if all the guys in the U.S., if I give them a big lighter, they would probably fucking set me on fire. That's about where we're at with that. A bunch of assholes. Yeah. Bunch of cunts. That's my favorite word now.
Yeah.
From the Aussies. Aussies? Yeah. They there's so many ways you can use that. Mm-hmm. Good and bad. Yeah. So, I mean, whether you're Batman, Superman, or Afro Man, you can use the word cunt in any format. So that's why I like it. These are things that you learn when you're a world traveler like I am, and I ain't never left and went nowhere. It comes to me.
It comes to you, yeah.
So when you were with the Hadzabe tribe, what all did you hunt? And that's what everybody's wanting to know. They don't give a damn about nothing else. What all did you hunt? What the dogs look like? Yeah. How did they hunt? Did they dry cast them? Did they just free cast them? They road hunt them. They rig hunt them.
Yeah.
Well, how do they do everything?
Well, how it would typically work, there's a couple of different methods that I saw them use. They will still hunt. And they still hunt a lot of times for kudu, which is a popular one out there. While we were out there, they were telling me it was more of the small game season. Mm-hmm. And they're allowed to hunt year round because it's a subsistence hunting. They have special permission from the government to do what they're doing. I didn't really hunt. I watched them hunt, but going out with them, they're dry. They would cast on sign when they would find sign, or they'd often dry cast too, and they're walking with them the whole time. They a lot of times if the dogs run, they're running, so they are keeping because they don't have a tracking system. And they don't put bells on their dogs. I asked them about putting bells on them because I know that people used to do that here. But what they were telling me about the bells is they would attract predators and they'd lose a dog. So they have to keep up with the dogs. So it's the most physically intense hunting I've ever done because you are practically running a marathon with these guys. Mm-hmm. And I fell behind quite a bit. And the gentleman, some of the African gentlemen with me from other tribes. We had a gentleman from the Korea tribe, and we had some gentlemen from the Datoga. They were having a hard time keeping up as well. Yeah, I was falling pretty far behind them too, though. Like they're quick, and it is some physically intense hunting. But they're going after a lot of small game. So hyrax, which kind of looks like a rabbit, and if I hadn't Googled it, I would have sworn they were related to a rabbit, but they're not.
Yeah.
They got short ears, but the rest of them kind of looks like a rabbit, and they live in these rock outcroppings called. I'm sure I have the word written down here. Well, I don't. Anyway, they're going. They have a word for these rock outcroppings. Copies. That's the word. Copies. So these rock outcroppings called a copy. That and some of them are really big, kind of like that big rock that they have in The Lion King, where he's holding Simba. Yeah. So those rock outcroppings are called copies, and that's where these hyrax live, and they'll also live in hollow trees and stuff like that. And they'll use the dogs for ground game. Sending them down into the holes between the rocks to pull out these hyraxes, and then either the dog will chase them out, and then they'll shoot them with their bows, or the dog will catch it, and then they'll go and get it from the dog.
What size dogs are these?
Some of them are 5 size, and some of them.
So 20, 25 pounds,
Yeah.
somewhere there, and then some bigger.
Yeah, some bigger. I did see some that were pretty large. I saw some that were over 40 pounds, some close to 60 pounds. Wide variety of dogs.
I got you.
They'll keep any dog that hunts. If it hunts, they'll keep it. If it don't hunt,
If it don't
hunt, they're probably not keeping him around. He's got to provide for the family. So,
well, that's hunting in its purest form. Is like as far as dogs go. Like used to dogs had to earn their keep.
mm-hmm.
Or you didn't keep them. You could.
Oh yeah.
Most people could not afford.
Yeah.
You can't afford to buy dog food back whenever. And so it's like then became the enjoyment of it. And it's like, okay, now all we do is just pleasure hunt and blah, blah, blah. Nobody lets their dogs pay for themselves.
Yeah, I was told by somebody, and again, I'm not an expert or anything like that. I'm very new to this field, but I was told by somebody that they didn't that the Hadzabe and other groups out there, they didn't selectively breed dogs.
Yeah.
And I questioned the validity of that, but I heard it from someone who had a PhD and sounded legit, so I went and asked around, and it seems like what they told me is they do. But they selectively breed by culling. Mm-hmm. So if a dog doesn't do its job, the dog doesn't hang around long enough to reproduce. So, that's how they selectively breed. It's not as selective as us, because the female kind of gets to choose which male she's with, because they're all just running loose. They'll
pick the best male out of them.
They'll pick the best male out of that group. They'll probably pick them better than we could. But if it doesn't do good, then he's probably not gonna live long enough to reproduce.
No, and I'm sure they don't have like a soft coal method out there. Like here, they have used to it with everything was just hard coal, just bang, it's over.
Yeah.
And then you can find other jobs for a lot of dogs now, like if say as far as like tree dogs, coon dogs or something like that. If you take a hound that's not working on that.
Yeah.
A lot of times people can put it over here for a hog dog. Mm-hmm. And it might like doing that better and be better at it. So basically, you got to they culled the coon dog and put it over here, or with a hog dog.
And some of these
they can like deer, or there's a multitude of things. And so over there, how are their cull methods? Do you know?
There's definitely a lot of hard culling.
Yeah.
And there's also soft culling as well. I did talk to one Hadzabe guy who told me that he had given away some dogs to the Datoga, because the Datoga are going to use them for cattle. He said they weren't very good for hunting monkeys. He was hunting
monkeys, y'all.
Sykes monkeys, and vervet monkeys and things like that, and bush babies. And he said he didn't do very good on treeing, but he wanted to see if it would work good on cattle. So gave it to the Datoga, and the Datoga use them on cattle. Or sometimes they'll just be around the house as a guard dog, just to warn people. So there is some soft culling that's done, and sometimes they just run them off. I heard one guy say he just run them off, and So there's a lot of feral dogs out there because people run them off too. But
yeah, I've seen that about how many feral dogs are just,
just there. And they want them there. That was what was really interesting to talk to people about, is a lot of people didn't want the feral dogs gone. Like in America, we would call dog catcher to come get rid of them, but a lot of these guys, they want a feral dog around because it'll warn the whole neighborhood if there's a problem. They clean up the garbage.
Yeah, I think it's more like a good yard dog, village dog, whatever,
He cleans up the garbage.
He's got his place.
So he's not. They keep the rat population down. They don't have a problem with that necessarily.
So, I wonder, man, they don't have any cats running around over there.
They do have cats, but
they have like feral cats and stuff.
They do have
not
cats.
like lions and stuff.
They do have cats, but I saw a lot less of them. We had a cat in the camp that I was with when I was doing the archaeology. We had a cat there that just showed up. But I didn't see very many.
That's how cats do. They just show up.
Oh, that's how. Yeah, that's how you get a cat.
I think it's because of voodoo and hexes. A lot of it, really? That's how cats get in the population. A lot of time, there's a blue ivy. She will just pow, throw a hex on you, and pop. There goes the cat. Love you, Miss Ivy.
Oh yeah,
we got to make sure we put all that out there.
Yeah, I heard about Miss Ivy putting.
Oh man, look, she hits a lot of people with it, but it's just love. That's all it is. It's her way to say she loves us. But what, Nate?
You're about to get another one put on you.
She can put all she wants, because let me tell you, don't nothing stick to God like that.
Nope, none of that stuff does.
I got him on my side.
Yep.
Your little stuff ain't gonna work. Mm-hmm. Promise you that. Wow.
I find it really funny when people do that because they act like
they don't understand what's going on.
Well, they act like their ancestors, or you don't even have to say ancestors. You could go back your grandparents. You'd be hard pressed to find someone who's didn't have a granddad that hunted, or a great granddad.
And that's part of your mission right now.
Yes. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do now. Is I would like to write a book about foodways in the American South, and traditional foodways. So your gardening, your gathering of wild edibles, stuff like that, ginseng that a lot of people used to do in Appalachia. You talk to some gator hunters, talk to some hog hunters, and you'll learn as much as I can and write a book about the foodways of the American South, because I believe that if you understand the foodways of a group of people, you gain a really good grasp on their culture as a whole. It's not perfect. It's not the only way to do it. It's not a method that you can always use, but I think it's very applicable in the American South. There's certain words that can be traced back. I mean, back to hunting, like keep your powder dry or something like that, that are used around the country. And they go back to hunting, go back to firearms and things like that that are important.
Yeah, I feel like
if we don't preserve these traditions, it's gone.
Without a doubt, because there's so many people against us, and the people that are against us, they stick together. There's power in numbers.
Yeah,
and words have power. Those people get together, they protest, they hold rallies, they go speak in Congress, they have lobbyists. They do all these things, and here we are. Yeah, there's one or two groups that really put forth the effort, but we can't stop arguing between us.
Yeah,
as houndsmen.
And this work, like when hopefully when I publish it someday, it has to be less academic in nature because I have a bias. If I had no bias, then I could write about it and publish it in a scientific journal. Hopefully. I'm just starting out my career, but if that was possible, I'd do that. But I can't do it in good conscience with as much bias as I have. I'm from the South. I'm from Texas. This is my people. Obviously, I have a bias here. So I got to publish it in a less academic sense. Independently publish it, that kind of thing. And in order to remain in order to remain legitimate,
Mm-hmm.
I have to own my bias. I have to own it and be like, hey, this is my bias.
Yeah, like this is why.
Yeah. Otherwise, because a lot of stuff that's published is bias, and we have to own our bias in order to be intellectually honest.
And the thing, you have to have experience. And without experience, and when I say experience, like doing what you're doing now, okay, you didn't come from a running dog background.
No.
Okay, but you've hunted, so you know the process. You know how, like, you do this to take game and what it's used for. To eat. But then doing it with dogs, you've talked to a lot of people. They're like, well, man, it's unfair. Like it's so much easier with dogs.
Yeah, I've talked to
How
a
do you
lot
feel
of people
about
who
that
felt
today?
way, and I kind of felt that way until I hunted with y'all and hunting with the Hadzabe. Like, it was really cool to hunt out there with the Hadza and then to hunt with y'all. I can see now that the Hadza have really, really good dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all have good dogs too. But it doesn't, because I assumed kind of, and this was probably my ignorance showing, that y'all probably had better dogs than the Hadza.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was my thought. I was like, well, they probably have better dogs. We put a lot of science into this. We're monitoring their feed. We're doing all this extra work. We Americans would probably have better dogs on account of that. And then come to find out, they have some pretty good dogs.
Yeah, they're dog. Well, you're in a game-rich environment as well.
Yeah, game-rich environment.
That's what makes the difference in your dog.
Yeah. If you put them on some real good feed and gave them some wormer and stuff, I wonder how good they'd run.
Yeah, see how they would really be.
Oh yeah.
And but then at the same time, if there's no game there, are they going to continue without me running with them?
Probably not.
Because I'm not going to run with them.
Yeah,
it's going to be like yesterday. Them dogs are going to run for 6.5, 7 hours, and we're going to be at the truck. They're going to go do the work.
The other weird thing is their dogs are almost entirely silent, even when they tree. When they would tree,
that's what's crazy. I figured they'd be open.
Yeah, when they would tree a vervet monkey or a bush baby, which is another type of monkey. Mm-hmm. When they would tree them,
they just stand there.
They just kind of stand there and point at the tree, almost like a bird dog would.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you know they're treed. And when I asked about it, they told me that like a really loud dog or a babbling dog would not survive out there because he would get eaten by hyenas.
He'd draw attention.
He'd draw predators, and he would get eaten by a hyena or something.
Well, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, I mean, there's no doubt it makes perfect sense. Luckily we don't have to deal with that. I know guys that are in like Alaska, places like that. They don't want dogs that bark and open and do a lot of things. Because they have bigger predators there, like you got bear, you got grizzlies, you got lions, you got all these bigger predators, wolves and stuff that can get on your dogs and they can kill. Like, we don't have to worry with that as much. I mean, you got some coyotes here and there, but most of our dogs, they'll whoop a coyote's ass. They'll stretch one out. Mm-hmm. And then you have certain parts of the country. Now they got to worry about it. Like out west, you got to worry more about in certain parts of Texas, worry about mountain lions and stuff like that as well. But we also have dogs that are trained to hunt those, not ourselves, but, in America, to go do that. So if the Hadza, if they had dogs that would, I guess you'd say, like, hunt the predators, if they had predator dogs, would that help keep the population down to where it wouldn't matter? I know that they will. I know that they will hunt predators because my guide was telling me that they'll eat lions and they'll run lions with dogs. Oh, okay. I never saw them do that or met anybody who had done it, but I heard stories about it, predominantly from the older people out there, and a lot of this was through a translator. But they did talk about it, So, and I it's hard to imagine because their dog. I would think you would need a really big dog for that. Yeah, but maybe you can use a lot of little dogs to get away with it. And all you got, maybe you bang into a tree. We did it with the Yacht Terriers and Patterdales. Yeah. 300-pound boar hogs that just demolished bigger dogs. These little dogs wouldn't even get cut. But like we had enough of them and they would just keep him so wrapped up, so wound up tight. Like it didn't have a hog in a cutover, didn't even have time to move. Like all he could do was just kind of spin around. And these little bastards are just yap, 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 or they're actually catching on to him and hanging. And so he can't go anywhere. It gets tangled up. So the shoe's on the other foot. But then you take other instances, like with the bigger dogs, like Mr. Dean Ross, got these wolfhounds, stags, all these really, really large dogs. And in the open areas, his dogs are very successful because they can catch the hog and hold the hog on their terms. They don't have to, they just walk it to where they want it to go. Mm-hmm. Unless the hog is honestly, absolute just too big. And very seldom is that going to happen. But there are times, but then you just add another dog to it, and it works.
That's all. That's really cool that y'all do that.
So
with some small dogs, so they're probably capable.
I was going to say, I think they could do it, but now a lion is going to be completely different than anything that we're hunting. Like period. Like I just don't see them just laying down.
I think it's going to be a base situation.
Well, like mountain lions. I talked to quite a few lion hunters and probably going to catch some shit right here for this, but a lot of the guys that hunt mountain lions tell me they're like, man, I'd rather hunt a wild hog.
Really?
They're so much tougher. They're meaner. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They're like, you can just take a stick and be done with a mountain lion.
Hey, the Hadzabe told
me. Like, what? I don't know. I've not done it.
The Hadzabe told me that the Pumbaa, which is one of the words that they'll use to describe a warthog, that's the meanest animal that they got out there. And there are lions in the area. So comparing it to a lion, but they said that's the meanest one that they were hunting, and they said, and they're tough.
Wondered about that.
Yeah,
wondered how the warthog was, in comparison to like the wild boar.
I was really hoping I'd get a chance to see him chase one, but we just never came across any. We did come across some baboons at one point. I know the Hadzabe love eating baboon. They'll tell you that that's their favorite.
Yeah.
So I was hoping we were going to get a chance to. I was going to get a chance to film them chasing it, or film the dogs chasing it. But they ended up deciding to let those go. They only had so many dogs with them. I think we had 4 with us that day.
Wasn't enough.
And the chief that was with us was telling me that, and people say that the Hadzabe don't have chiefs, but they told me they do. So I'm calling him what he said he is. But he told me that they only run them when they have a lot of dogs, and they get several bands of Hadzabe together because they'll be spread out into extended family groups. Yeah. And they'll get 5, 10 of them together and put all the dogs together, and then they'll run the baboons.
I got you. That's kind of the way they do with the deer dog in here. There'll be a bunch of, maybe not extended family groups and stuff, but like it is.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It's
like for a lot of it, there will be. They'll be like, say you got grandpa that's been doing it for 40, 50 years. Then you got dad. Then you got the boys.
Uncle, cousins,
nephews, all that. Like you said, they all get together and everybody's got all their dogs. And then when they turn loose, there's liable to be 30 or 40 dogs. And it's not like that every single time. I'm just saying this is one of those things that happen. But it's in numbers, in the numbers game as far as with the dogs, you can do a lot. It doesn't matter what dog you have. What kind of dog? The better the dog, the tougher the dog, whatever, of course, the better.
Yeah.
If you're trying to catch game.
Yeah.
If you're trying to stop game and bay it, you don't want nothing that's going to be too overly rough, because then you're going to put too much pressure on it and cause it to keep running.
That was an important lesson that I learned with y'all when we were out hunting hogs. Is that
you've seen how that pressure. We busted all them hogs up. Like there's a whole group of hogs there. One dog went in. When the other dog made it there, they blew up. Mm-hmm. And then hogs went everywhere.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. I mean, sometimes you can do it. You can take one dog or 2 dogs and you can bay up 30 or 40 pigs and they'll stay right in the wad. When you send that catch dog in, and he grabs one, then they're going to bust up. Now, will every one of them split and run? A lot of times they do. That doesn't mean that they always will, because I guarantee you there's somebody out there listening right now that's going to be like, no, mine didn't do that. I understand. But generally, just like you said, when you hear they don't have a chief, but the chief says, yeah, and then all the people say, he's the chief.
Yeah.
You can't always believe everything that you hear from somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Or what you see on AI generated overview.
Yeah. I've read that they don't have chiefs, that they don't have hierarchy, but I mean, that's not what the group that I was with, that's not what they told me. They told me that they had a chief who was in charge, and he did seem to be in charge.
Mm-hmm.
They had an old man. They said his job is to be the oldest. That was his job, which I think is meant to kind of be a joke in a way, because they laughed when they said it. But I think that it's also, there's some truth to it, right? Like your job is to be old. When you're an elder, your job is to have the wisdom, you know? So he definitely gave some orders, and I saw him override some people at times.
How old was he?
Oh, they don't,
you know?
A lot of them don't know how old they are. If I were to guess, he's probably in his 70s, but I don't know. And I met another person there that they claimed was over 100. Among the Hadzabe, I met one, and then among the Maasai, which is another group that we were with when we were doing archaeology, they have a gentleman out there who they also say is over 100. So now they don't really count their years very as well as we do. A lot of people don't know exactly how old they are, and when someone gets to a certain age, people might exaggerate how old the guy is. No telling.
Mm-hmm.
But some folks do live a very long life out there, even in living a rough life, being hard on your body physically, and they still seem to live a pretty long life.
I think and we talked about this earlier today, living long lives and stuff with the dogs.
Yeah,
all our dogs. We got to discussing it earlier, y'all, and Sebastian said, he said, asked how old one of the dogs was. And I was like, she's like 10 years old. He's like, well, it's hard to tell, how old this one is. This one's 10, this one's 3, and this one's 1, or not even 1,
Yeah.
He's like, they all look so much the same because they're all in the same health. They're all healthy dogs. No, they're not fat. They're not, you don't have one dog that's 10 years old and overweight and can't walk.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with pets.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of times when you have a pet dog, and they get old.
Well, yeah, they get old and they get fat and all that. But we keep these running, and so it's like we got to thinking about it and looking back on it, and we have had a bunch of dogs that are in the double-digit years that have actively hunted their entire lives.
Yeah,
and so, like you said, living a hard life. To me, it's like, I don't know how much of a factor that plays into it. Would they have lived longer? I don't know.
No.
But, when you have catch dogs that are anywhere from 10 to 15 years old, that's a pretty good run.
I mean, even a pet dog usually don't make it that far.
Mm-hmm.
We usually don't make it. 12, I think, would be about average.
Yep.
I mean, at least the dogs I've been around.
That's exactly right.
I mean, we had one that made it to 15 as a pet, and everyone thought that was pretty old.
I think it's old to me. I haven't seen many of them that was much older than that. I've heard of dogs that were older, but I hadn't seen many.
No.
I hadn't seen it. So what do you got there?
This is some chewing tobacco, and I got some of it from the Maasai, and some of it I got from the Datoga. And then, and it is strong. You had some earlier, right, Nate?
Yeah, I had some yesterday when we went hunting, and I put in such a small piece. And I was sitting there, and by the time we got down to the creek to try and call the dogs, I was turning around like this, like, man. I said, this is stout. He said, yeah, it is. And he put it in, Sebastian put it in a big chaw. And I was like, my head's spinning, and I chew every day.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I had forgotten how strong it was when I did that because I hadn't been chewing it in a while. I'd been sitting.
Oh, those guys are tough and apparently have a wicked nicotine tolerance.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter where you're from in the world. Cowboys always chew tobacco. Yeah. And like the Maasai and the Datoga are both they're cowboys, you know. They raise cattle and they travel nomadically with their cows a lot of times, and they chew tobacco. And everywhere that I've been and met people who raise cattle, they chew. Which I find very interesting how that's all cattle people always seem to do that, you know.
I don't know.
It's an interesting cultural phenomenon that seems to, and that's kind of what we look at as anthropologists. We're looking for these cultural connections and things like that. It's very fascinating to see that how many people chew.
You think about like the guys in deep South America, the gauchos, stuff like they're all chewing tobacco. I was just sitting there running it back through my head. I was like, yeah. And
there's
then
occasionally this young boy from, I want to say he's from Bolivia.
I thought he was from Chile.
He might be from Chile.
The big wad.
Oh yeah, he'll get a wad of chew and like,
bro, I'm talking like he'll put that whole bag in there. Like it's just like holy shit. It's not a can like a Copenhagen can. Yeah. It's probably about 3 of them. It would, but I mean his can that he's got made, he's got it in some kind of little container.
Yeah,
and he keeps it on his belt, you know, on his stash or whatever. So
whip it out and pack him one.
What is that?
This right here is made out of a gourd.
Is that weed?
No, it is not weed.
Damn.
It's made out of a gourd, and that's what they keep their snuff in.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
got a little cork in there.
Something about that.
You put it around your neck, and it's beaded up and everything. My friend JJ, his mama, beaded this for me, and it's full of. It took me forever to get this snuff into the actual. Gourd here, but you put a little bit of it in your hand like that, and it's real fine, real powdery.
It's like the old Bruton Scotch snuff.
Yeah, that you would sniff, right?
Yeah, or Levi Garrett or whatever. Like especially from the deep South, your mama would be chewing it or something, or dipping it in your pawpaw or whatever.
And you'll see people sniff it, or you'll see people just crunch it up into a ball like this and then stick it in their lip. Yeah. Like you would a pinch of snuff. Yeah. And so you'll see it done either way. I don't know if y'all want to sniff it.
I can't sniff nothing like that. The brown stuff is rough. So the whiter stuff is probably easier on me.
I don't do none of that.
Let me see that. Hold that gourd up there. I'm doing a little video. We'll post this on there. So cork. That's pretty slick. And what did they use for a cork? Just a piece of wood?
Yeah, it's just a little piece of wood they carved into the right shape.
It's like some of my stuff that I do.
It's all got beads on it, and then down here. The same lady beaded this cowboy hat for me, put a hat band around there.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah, she did a damn good job. And that was actually done with some of the beads actually came off of a American Indian reservation. I believe he said off the Shawnee. I could be mistaken on that. Don't kill me if I'm wrong. But a friend brought one of the guys we were working with had brought some beads from the Native Americans that they wanted to give to the Maasai, and they gave them those beads, and so the hat's kind of cross cultural, you know. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty slick.
But this is what that's just stuff I brought back. I thought y'all would find interesting.
Oh yeah, it is without a doubt. Now, when you were out there, when y'all were hunting, was there did they all just get together and hunt? How many guys went out and hunted? What were the weapons of choice? What did y'all take while y'all were there? What did you eat while you were there? We got to know what you ate. And I mean, keep it clean, buddy.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. So
but you said you got your African wife now, son.
I'm not married to her yet. But someday soon. Someday soon. So we ate good. We ate good out there. Everywhere I went, and I ate a lot of local food. Never made me sick.
Is it all? I mean, I'm really interested in the food part.
Okay, so as far as game, I didn't eat a whole lot of game, but I did try monkey while I was out there. I had vervet monkey that someone had that one of the Hadzabe guys had killed and cooked up, and being polite to refuse it, especially knowing how hard they work for it. it would be very impolite to refuse, and I always wanted to try it anyway, so this was just an excuse. So I had some. It was like a very lean pork. It was like a very lean pork, and they do eat the brain, which surprised me. But they do eat the brain, and I did not eat the brain because I was real worried about getting sick, and they're probably immune to whatever it is, but because they've been doing it so long. But I don't think I am. I doubt I'm immune to it.
No.
So I did, and I had just gotten over getting dengue fever out there, so I didn't want to test nothing.
No.
How'd you get dengue fever? Was it?
You get it from mosquitoes. You get it from mosquitoes, so like malaria or West Nile. Fortunately, it was my first time getting it. And the first time you get it, usually ain't that bad. I was mostly asymptomatic. I got dehydrated real bad.
Yeah,
but that was it.
Was it just a fever, like, or just
usually
feel bad?
I got a little bit of a fever, and I got but it wasn't too bad, and I got real dehydrated. But I know that my lady over there, she said, wait till you get it again, it'll be bad, because like the first time you get it ain't bad, the second time is real bad, and then the third time is real bad, and then usually after that they say that you probably won't get it again. So, like, most people get it, from what they were telling me, most people, and again, I'm not an expert, but most people were telling me that they got it a lot as a kid. Now they don't get it anymore.
That's pretty wild.
Huh.
Oh, she laughed at me for being worried about malaria. And I'm like, well, it'll probably kill me. You're probably immune to it. Like,
yeah, I'd be worried.
Never had malaria, and I don't think I just want to be like, I hope it's okay.
Yeah.
No, I'd be worried.
I get nervous when I get the flu. Or
she told me only the very young and the very old die of malaria is what she was telling me. And I was like, well, they'll probably have a certain amount of immunity to it from exposure and from your parents being exposed to it. You get a lot of antibodies from your mother, so they probably don't, they probably have a certain amount of immunity to it, but I know I do not.
Yeah, that would worry me I don't know.
Well, I took malaria pills while I was out there as a preventative measure. That was the one I was actually seriously worried about. The rest of it, I'm not too. Yeah. Dengue is not super concerning. You won't usually die of it.
So the weapons that they use, what all are they? I know, the bow and arrow. We know that.
Bow and arrow was predominant.
What about guns?
You didn't see a lot of guns.
Okay.
There are guns out there. They can legally own them, but they're very expensive. So a lot of people don't have them because of the cost. Yeah. And it seems to be predominantly the cost of owning one and the cost of feeding a gun because from what I was told out there, ammunition's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
They have to get that imported or make their own. And there are guys out there who make their own, which is pretty cool.
Tell us about that.
I saw a guy make a shotgun shell by rolling paper and beating a coin into the right shape. And making a shotgun shell, and I saw that. I won't say where I saw that, but but I did see it. I did see it done. And
so the coin, what was the coin for? Like the brass part?
That was his brass. Yeah, that was his brass. He cut a hole in it. He built his own primer out of a match using a match head, and I think he told me it was the match head, and then he would scrape whatever chemical is on the side of the matchbox and make a primer out of it. And he said they're not good primers because you got to clean your gun quite a bit once it's done. But it was cool that he knew how to do it. Yeah. And the reason I won't say where it is I don't think he would like me to do that. He's a very private man. But it is, my understanding is it is entirely legal for them to have guns. They have to get a license and stuff like that, like a lot of countries. But I don't think it's super hard to get like it is in, say, Europe or something like that.
Yeah.
So you don't see a lot of firearm hunting. You see a lot of bow hunting. There are people who hunt with spears as well, especially the larger predators. One guy, I actually asked someone why bother with a spear when you have a bow, and he said, "Well, if I make a bad shot, it's coming after me." And just about, there's nothing in Africa. I did not meet a single animal that was afraid of me. Like they don't really run. Like
that could be an issue.
Like even gazelles, you can get pretty close to a gazelle. I'm used to like whitetail running away from me. I've walked up to gazelles and gotten pretty close. And what'll happen if you get too close is he may just decide he's gonna he's going to charge you. Like they're not scared of you out there. So if you get a bad shot, from what they were telling me, it'll usually go after you.
Yeah, that sounds.
It's not going to run. So you
That'll
have
make
to
you
have your
nervous.
spear ready in case you miss that shot off that arrow and you can't knock one quick enough to get off another shot.
Huh.
So you also see knives used. The Hadzabe were using their knives quite a bit to get into these holes in the sides of trees. The dogs will key in on hollow logs and stuff like that. I say key in because they're not really barking. They'll key in on it, they'll point at it, and then the dogs will start digging at that hollow log. And then the Hadzabe would get in there with their axes, and these were homemade axes, very beautiful, and start chopping at it or beating on it, trying to get it to jump out. If that doesn't work, a lot of times they'll take one of their arrows and poke it into that hollow log and stick him. And because of the barbs, you can stick him and pull him right out.
Mm-hmm.
Or I saw guys reach in there and grab them, or reach in there with a knife and stick them. And they said that they'll do the same thing with the Pumbas, those warthogs. They'll stab them, but they'll usually use a spear for that. Sometimes they'll use a bow. It depends on how close their dogs are.
I've had people ask us why we didn't use spears.
That's what the Africans asked, actually.
They
A
asked.
lot of folks in Africa that I described this to, in both Kenya and in Tanzania, the question was the same every time. Why don't they use a spear? Why are they using a knife? Like, because it just seems, well, we're not as familiar with them.
No, not really.
We don't carry one every day. A lot of these guys, they carry one every day.
Well, it's bigger.
Maybe that's what I need. Maybe that's what we need is a spear.
I know a couple of older guys that's all they carry now. Charlie and them, Frog, that's all they carry is spears. Him and Carl,
Yeah,
they carry spears all the time now. So I don't know if. I guess I don't know that is it because it's easier, or they don't have to get as close and get themselves in a bind. Like you could stand back further, and of course that in close quarters, all tangled up, it would definitely be better than a K-bar.
Yeah.
Now, I'm telling you, I know, because when the hogs turn around on top of you,
yeah,
and you've got dogs on top of it, and you can't move, and it can't move, and the dogs can't move.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason you can't move and do all that is because you had to get in there that close to dispatch with a knife. Where, like you said, if you had a spear, you're standing back 4 to 6 feet, reaching there and bump him one time, and I'm sure it would have to be a little better.
I think it's just because we're not that familiar with it. And I got to say, for anyone listening that's like sensitive to it, the reason I say the Africans is because I dealt with a lot of people from a lot of different tribes and countries out there. And it was a consistent question that I received across the board from people when I described this type of stuff to them. They're from many different tribes, and I've been to several places in Africa. I've also been all over North Africa and had these conversations with people. So that's why I say the Africans. I don't mean to be
certain way back.
I don't mean to be prejudiced about it.
It's not.
It's just a large group of people that
because they're all from the continent, Africa.
The continent of Africa. I understand there's many different countries there, but it was a consistent question that I would get from different people, like why aren't they using a spear?
That's pretty cool.
Which I would ask them why they don't use a gun, but well,
kind of why they we know, but ammunition and just being able to get one.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, they can't just run down here to Dick's Sporting Goods or Academy, and get shit or get the gun.
Yeah,
it's not even that readily available.
Yeah,
and so the spear has worked flawlessly for centuries.
Yeah, many thousands of years they've been using spears to hunt game. So
we overcomplicate stuff. I feel like that. I think over here we overcomplicate shit.
Oh, we do. And what was really cool is I wish I brought more of the tools because everything is multi-purpose, right? So they'll have like this broadhead here. They'll have some that don't have spikes on them that they use more for kudu, from what I was told. But they also will have them sharp enough where they can skin with it.
Yeah.
So they'll take and all the This one would fit into a hollow part of the arrow, and there's oftentimes nothing holding it in there. So they'll just pop it out,
and they got a knife.
and then they'll start skinning with it. So you'll see, I saw Hadzabe out there that didn't carry a knife. They just used their arrowheads to skin. And you'll see machetes that are...
a good picture of that. Or a little video.
Yeah.
We'll do that as we go along and do this too. That way listeners, they know what we're doing as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
where you'd stick it in to the shaft of your arrow, and those are your spikes.
Lay it down on your hand so we can see like in relation to how long it is. Well, what, 8 inches? So that's pretty cool. Pretty slick, man. I think it's really cool that they do everything is multi-purpose, so they ain't got to carry a bunch of stuff because they're, like you said, they're on foot doing all this hunting.
A lot of their machetes are sharp on both sides.
Yeah.
Almost like a sword.
Mm-hmm.
And one side is beveled in a way that's in such a way that it's good for carving and finer tasks, and the other side is beveled in such a way that's better for chopping. So they'll have different types of bevels on one blade, which is pretty nifty. You know, a lot of stuff like that where you'll see Maasai gentlemen oftentimes with a shuka. You'll see the Datoga do it too. A lot of people wear a shuka, and all a shuka means sheet in Swahili.
Yeah,
and and that's their blanket in the evening. That's their something to lay down on.
Bedroll,
all that, but it's just wrapped around them like a shirt. And when it's time to go to bed, they'll take it off and they'll sleep with that blanket or lay it on the ground as a ground cloth. A lot of times guys will have two of them tied up in such a way that they, one across one shoulder, one across the other maybe. And that's how now they got their bedroll because it can get pretty cold at night out there.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, what the climate and the weather and stuff like that, and for, hey, listen, guys out there in the world listening to this, I know this is a little different change of pace from what we normally talk about. And I just want to make sure that y'all understand that, we're not going to be about just one particular thing. Our horizons are a lot wider than that. I think this is very interesting. Also, Sebastian has been a listener, and he's came to hunt with us, and he's learning all these things to put into place for betterment of our sport overall. Yeah. And coming from somebody that was on the fence about, hey, how's this dog hunt stuff really work? To now he's like, hey, it ain't going to be too much longer. I got to get me some dogs, man.
Well, I got to give credit where credit is due. What got me into this was I, by happenstance, found a podcast from Mr. Raymond Plummer when he was on Houndsman XP.
Yeah.
And then I bugged y'all until y'all got him on too.
Oh, yeah.
But that's where I changed my mind, was hearing some of his hunting stories and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is hard. This is not an easy thing to do. And I always thought of it as being an easier way to hunt. It's not. It's, in fact, maybe a harder way to hunt.
Yeah.
You deal with a different set of challenges. It's certainly harder than
it's good.
It's certainly harder than a corn pile.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And the thing about it is, when it's good, it's good. It's fun. You get the brothership, the fellowship with all the guys out there hanging out. You get 3 or 4 sets of guys together, dogs and all that, and help hit all these properties. We've been in a drought. And like I told you when you got here, I was like, it's dry. And you see how dry it is? Dry. And so I was like, it's going to be hard. This is going to be real hard. It was even hard. We took squirrel dogs out this morning, and we made 20 trees. They're all den trees. And never in my life have I done that many at that time. And like, there actually were squirrels there. Had one jump out, hit the ground, run. They couldn't even pick the track up and go to the next tree where it treed.
Oh, yeah.
I talked to other guys. None of them were treating anything this morning either. So it goes to show you that, just because you have these hunting dogs, and these dogs, are 8, 9, 10 years old, they're well versed in doing it, doesn't mean that you're going to catch something every damn time you go hunting. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And that's what gets it gets misconstrued. They think, well, you guys got dogs, y'all just go out there and y'all catch all the squirrels, y'all catch all the rabbits, y'all catch all the deer, all the hogs. No, that's not what happens. It's not about catching a bunch of game for us.
Yeah.
It's about utilizing the dogs for specific reasons for specific properties.
Mhm.
We have different dogs for different things, you know. We survive on that.
Yeah.
Like we eat this wild game. This isn't like just thrill kill hunting.
And that's what people need to know. That's what people need to know. And I feel like the houndsmen and the trappers get attacked more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And if we can defend that as hunters, we can defend the rest of the sport. It'll be easier to defend the rest of the sport if we defend those two first and foremost. So, and I do believe that we need to protect it. Like they always say at the beginning of the podcast, is a part of the of people's heritage.
Yeah.
A lot of people, not necessarily my heritage, but it's part of many people's heritage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and nothing makes me sadder as someone who studies anthropology and that kind of thing. Like, nothing makes me sadder than a tradition that dies.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably some traditions that need to die.
We talked to that man
There's some
yesterday.
bad ones, but you know, most cultural traditions, they need to stay. I want to see them thrive.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, we talked to that man yesterday, the rabbit hunter.
Yeah.
How many were you on this year? He said, I don't even have a dog. What? Yeah. Well, I know his grandson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why don't his grandson have that pack of beagles?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, why does he not have that pack of beagles? There's something missing in the middle, and I know that family, and they are good people. And that's a great man. Not a good man, he's a great man. But from there, that boy didn't have a daddy in the middle. His grandson. That's not his fault. It's not the old man's fault, because his daughter is that boy's mom. So there's a missing link. And now later on, I feel like, yeah, his grandson will probably pick it back up and do it, but he's going to have to start all over.
I hope so.
And all that. Exactly. My thing is, why would it have ever stopped? There doesn't have to be a break in the action, but it has to be presented in the right light, and it has to be out there for everybody to do it. You know what I mean? Because it was like when they was young, I know for a fact that boy went hunting with us more than he went hunting with his grandpa.
Yep.
Something wrong with that?
Well, and since I'm new to this world, I kind of want to ask y'all some new guy questions for people who are listening who may have never done this before.
Yes, Rodney is gay. I'm yeah. I'll answer the question.
I was not going to ask that, but
Okay.
If you are Rodney, I don't mind one way or the other.
He's my best friend. I love him.
Yeah,
We still love you, Rodney.
So
All right.
How do you get started? If you're an aspiring dog man, you're a younger guy, and you've never done this before, don't know anybody who's done it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do it?
Pretty much the path you're on. Not saying that just because you're sitting here, but that's what I would do, and that's kind of what I did. I was lucky enough to have somebody that showed me, that was around here, taught me the respect level, and what you need to do, and how to do it. So from there, once they quit hunting, I still was on, like I still new to it. I'd been doing it a few years, but not that long. And I was like, so where do I go from here? So you have to meet other hunters. And you have to love them for who they are, because all of them are different. You might have that one guy that's just a cantankerous old bastard, and oh my God, you don't even want to talk to him, but he's got what you need. He's got that bloodline of dogs. And after a little while, you might break through, and then there's a relationship. Or you get this other guy over here that's going to plaster all his puppies on top of everything every day on Facebook, Instagram. Hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. I got what you need. That's so much I ain't got nothing you need. Sorry, guys. If you're out there doing that. Most of them do not have what you need. If somebody else, if you have to tell everybody that your dogs are great, then they're probably not that great. You know, other people will tell you for you. And so that's where you need to go to get your dogs. That's the first thing all new hunters or new dog men and women aspiring, that's the first thing that they want to do is get a dog. Learn first. Don't get a dog unless you know how to hunt. What's the process? Where are you going to hunt? What type of terrain? Are you going to need a dog like little Tough was in Fred yesterday that's going to go 8 or 9 miles? Well, no, most people don't need that. Or are you going to need one like yesterday, like the day before when we went walking with Mr. John and Pepper? You got a few hundred acres here that you're going to concentrate on. Mm-hmm. Do you want to catch that hog, or do you want to bay the hog? Or are you going to be tying hogs up? Is it legal where you're at? Or are you going to have to dispatch every hog, depending on legalities of where you're at and where you're going to hunt? Yeah. Do you have a place to hunt? If you don't have a place to really hunt, why are you getting these dogs?
I came really close to making that mistake of just getting a dog because I got excited when I listened to some of them podcasts and stuff, and I called Mr. Plummer. I was ready to get a dog. I was going to find a way to I was living in a tiny little apartment in San Francisco, and I was going to find a way to get me a yard so that I could have a dog out there. Mm. And I ended up realizing I can't do this dog justice, not here in San Francisco where I'm living, because I was going to school out there. Yeah. And I cannot do this dog justice, and it's going to be wrong to take him. I'll ruin him, And I knew I would, so I had to tell him, no, I can't get a dog from you right now. But I will eventually. I have to. Yeah, I'm out of college now and just got to find a yard. So, but
that's what I would do. That would be the first thing is try to learn all the things, and so therefore you find you a mentor. Yeah. Preferably somebody that's fairly close to you, that that has been doing it for a long time and they're established. They have a good reputable name. Because there's guys out there be like, yeah, man, you can go hunt with us. And you don't want to. Like, because those dudes are the ones popping locks. They're trespassing. They're doing what they're not supposed to do. So you don't want to be affiliated with that, because then that's the first name you get. Your name's ruined. You do not want to do that. But finding a mentor is probably easier now than it's ever been. Mm-hmm. There's you can find somebody who will show you the ropes. And what I mean by that is like, hey, this guy's got dogs. He raises dogs. He hunts. You can go over there and help him work dogs, help him, clean the dog yard, feed and water, learn the worming schedules or deworming, whatever. Yeah. Meds, whatever you need for that area. And then also learn the dogs, like this is the type of dog you're going to need, because if he lives in the same area you do, so that's why he's hunting those type dogs, and he's a successful hunter. Mm-hmm. That's the key. Find somebody who's doing that. It doesn't have to be some big name guy off of social media by any means. It's probably a lot better if it's not, if I'm being 100% honest. Find somebody who's really in the woods. Yeah. There's not a lot of folks like us out here that we're out here talking about this all the time, but that's like that. This is our life. Like that's all we do. It's on every day. We're hunting or doing something every day. Not everybody's like that. Find somebody that's close to you that's more like that. That would be my biggest thing, is to give advice to somebody who's coming into it.
Yeah, just real briefly, so that I can show this someday to anti-hunters, because I run into a lot of them. I was living in California. I work in a field that a lot of people tend to lean that direction. What does this mean to you?
Everything.
Describe it if you can, and I'd like Nate to describe it as well, like what it means to you to be able to do this.
Nate?
Well, I feel like it's just really what I'm supposed to be doing. I think of a lot of things to do and a lot of things I enjoy doing, just not quite that much. Never, there's times where things go wrong doing anything, and I'm like, I might not do this anymore. But really, no matter what comes up, I'm always like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be making this better, just supposed to keep going. I don't know. I just feel like it's not my identity, but it is what makes up it. It's a large portion of it, a large, just concentrated essence of my being.
And mine's a little different in ways, and Nate already knows. Mine's overboard, I guess you'd say. It's just like it's everything that he said. It's it's what makes. But mine is, I don't know, mine's different. I found something in my life that I wholeheartedly enjoy, working with the dogs.
Yeah.
It does not have anything to do with all the hunting part of it or catching the game. It's more about working the dogs and interacting with the dogs. Now, don't get me wrong. Having those dogs, there's a purpose in that is catching game, because I can utilize it. It's not going to go to waste. If I feel like it's going to go to waste, I'm not going to take it. I
let them go.
Like that's the option we have.
It's the only catch and release hunting there is.
I don't have to, with the type dogs that we're running. And that's why we swapped to this style of dog as well. Some type dogs, they're going to catch the game right off the bat, and you're going to have to dispatch it.
Yeah.
With the type dogs that are available and that you can run, and with all the new technology we have now, you can have that dog where it's like, hey, let go. Let's go to the house. Come on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You seen today, I got a dog that's standing on a tree. I'm like, hey, can't find it. Go another one. What do? Get down, leave, and go.
Yep.
So, but as far as what it means to me, it means everything. I would rather die than not do it.
And that's how someone would describe a cultural practice that's deeply entwined into their history. That's how you ask, you ask someone about any cultural practice. Think about the Hadzabe, for example. Like if I asked them, about cultural practices that they need, like hunting, that's so important to them. And I think it's almost as important to people here. Maybe not quite there because they survive off of it. They live and die based on it.
Yeah.
But
yes.
But it's as deeply entwined in the culture. If you come to a place like Alabama, like it's hunting in general is very deeply entwined.
Anywhere in the South, it seems like, and there's other states as well. So don't think it's like, oh, it's just here.
No.
But I've also noticed that where there's more poverty, it seems like, and this is the reality of it.
Yeah.
Like where Appalachia is not this super rich area.
No.
It's not.
No, it is not.
There's a lot of guys like you were talking about a while ago, like with the ginseng and different things like that. Yeah. There's a lot of guys I know and have shook their hands and talked to. Them guys work like hell. I mean, they work all the time. And there's just not quite enough money.
Yeah.
There's enough to make ends meet, but they're not flourishing. So they get a good dog. Well, that good dog right there, say, you got you a good bear hound.
Yeah.
That bear, you get one or two for the season, that's going to take the place of going to Walmart down here and buying $2,000 or $3,000 worth of beef. Mm-hmm. Where he could get that pup for probably somebody might even give it to you.
Yeah.
And you can train it and put your time in there with it. And then you're with like-minded individuals. So when you see these guys, you see videos of all these guys out there hog hunting or bear hunting or rabbit hunting or whatever. At the end of the day, if there's game taken, hey, man, I'm going to send this over to your grandma's house. Mm-hmm. Take this to Pops right here. Take these tenderloins over here to Mr. Ralph. Take these rabbits right here down here to Miss Jenny and them. Tell her to make her some rabbit and gravy.
Yeah.
Because you know why? A lot of those people are on a fixed income and they don't have anything extra. They got just enough to survive, but they're not flourishing. So being able to turn them dogs loose, that's almost like hitting a little bit of, that's like getting a bonus on your paycheck a lot of times.
It's no different out there in Tanzania. I talked to a gentleman from the Datoga tribe who was telling me that he gives way more meat than he eats, because He's a very good hunter. He's very successful. He kills a lot of game, but he's mostly feeding the elders because the elders love eating game meat. Is what he was told.
It's good for them. It's healthy for them.
Yeah, the elders love eating it, and a lot of them can't get out there and do it themselves anymore. I mean, when you get married, in a lot of tribes out there, when you get married, you slaughter a cow or a couple of cows, and you give and you get a whole bunch of rice, and they do a lot of they'll make beef and rice or something like that, and they'll give it away to all the poor people. And that's how you start your marriage off. So you're starting your marriage off with an act of charity.
So,
and you'll see that more commonly among Muslim tribes. You'll see it among some other tribes too, but you'll see it more commonly among the Muslims.
So what you're describing there, there's not many places that will do that. Like you said, take care of their elderly or take care of the less fortunate. The South is one of the places that will do that.
Oh yeah.
All right. Not just there, like Alaska. That is a very, very, very common practice.
Yeah.
Like if they go out, they will have hunts that just to, sustenance hunts. Go out, take a moose, take it to the town hall, cook it for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Potluck right there.
Oh yeah, they do that out there too.
And then anybody that gets a moose, like you said, you got one guy that's he's always going to get his, and he's a good hunter. He's very successful. Well, that's the guy that there's probably 40 other people counting on. Yeah. And they're counting on him. They're like, man, I hope he gets something enough for us this year too, because they can't get out and go do it.
And this is the kind of stuff that I want people to understand, like from a cultural perspective, how important this is to communities down here. It's really, really important. We're losing it. I mean, I told you, like, while I was out there that I had some Kenyan guys listen to your podcast. I was downstairs from the apartment that I was staying in, and I was downstairs and listening to this podcast, mostly because I think it was irritating my girl. I had been listening to y'all for a while, and I think it was irritating her. So I went downstairs, I'm listening to it, and these guys kind of crowd around, some of the guys from the neighborhood, and they're listening to it, and what they loved about it was that hunting is extremely regulated and I think almost entirely illegal in Kenya. Even for the indigenous people in the area. And it's something that they lost back in the 70s for animal protection, animal welfare, and to provide more tourism, because people from outside of Kenya want to come and see the animals, and a lot of those people don't want to see people hunting the animals. I would almost rather see them hunting the animals. I think that, but it's part of the experience, right? But it was taken away. The right to hunt was taken away, and a lot of these guys, their grandfathers ran dogs and stuff like that, so they were listening intently. And then there were some older folks that were listening intently as well. In a bar, I was listening to y'all and showing pictures to some older gentlemen, and they reminisced on hunting with dogs, but they weren't allowed to do it anymore.
Man.
And it's sad. Not picking on Kenya. I don't want to say that I'm picking on them, but it is sad that they've lost that. And there were some reasons for it. There was a lot of poaching, a lot of overhunting, and things had to change. But it's also sad that they lost that. We could lose it here too.
Oh yeah,
we could lose it here too.
We were talking about where were you talking about earlier, like Arizona or something?
Yeah, well, I think it's Arizona. It might be New Mexico. One of them banned trapping, like almost entirely on public land. Like you can't trap on public land at all, and that's sad. That's a lost tradition. That's something that's what our country was really founded on, was a fur trade.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Oh,
that was our first real big industry before tobacco, before cotton, before but before the internet and all these other things that we do now, like mining and stuff like that. Before any of that, it was a fur trade. Like,
beavers.
We would have never gone west if it hadn't been for beavers. Like we had to get some beavers.
Beaver has made me do some stuff too over the years. Beavers drove me crazy. Yeah, beavers have kept me warm. Beavers have held me close and tight at sometimes,
I I
So
definitely understand that one.
it's so like you've talked to so many of these, and I don't want to say it like that. You've talked to so many people that are antis. They're against it. They don't see the reasons why.
Yeah, I was in a political science club at one point.
So what can people do? Let me ask you that right quick. What can people do that hunt, like guys like me? What can we do when that's brought up from someone?
Describe it as a cultural practice. Be like, this is a part of my way of life, my culture, and give credit where credit is due. I mean, y'all hunt with a lot of African American guys, right? Y'all hunt with a lot of black dudes, and it's as much a part of their culture as it is yours.
Yeah.
Talk about that because they're. I mean, people who lean left, they tend to be more sensitive to that kind of thing. And in a way, Appalachians are a minority. They're a cultural minority, if you were to put it that way, and they ought to have their rights preserved. Most of them don't have a problem with Native Americans hunting. Most of them don't have a problem with the Hadzabe hunting. They have a problem with you and I hunting. But it's just as much part of our culture. I'll stand up for any hunter. I don't care what color he is. But it is a cultural practice that is deeply rooted in your heritage and when I explain it that way, they tend to understand a little better. They tend to understand a little bit better than if I were to explain it like, you eat beef. Why can't I shoot this deer?
That's how it's explained a lot of times. People's like, well, you go to the grocery store and buy yours.
Yeah, and that's
an argument.
That doesn't seem to win very often.
That's what I'm saying. That's an argument, not a debate. That's an argument because you're throwing shade right there. You're like, no, this is you do this, I do this.
In college, I was in a political science club, and I explained it to a lot of people that way. I was like, this is part of our culture and our upbringing. For me, like I didn't start hunting until I was a teenager, and I did it, and it was in an effort. I started hunting in an effort to preserve it because I knew that my dad hunted. I knew that my grandfather hunted. I knew that like my uncles had hunted, and a lot of them were stopping hunting. And I was a kid obsessed with Daniel Boone. And I'm like, why are we stopping this? We can't stop. And I kept bugging my dad to take me and to get back into it. Now my dad's got bit with that hunting bug so bad, he just like got absorbed by it because I pressured him into it. I'll take credit for that. But
no, that's a good thing.
I mean, it was, and it was always about preserving it and keeping it around, keeping it as part of our heritage. And I think when you explain it that way, they understand it a little bit better. It's like if you told them, they couldn't play soccer no more, they couldn't play baseball no more, they couldn't do their favorite sport. It's like if you told them, you like ballet, you can't do ballet anymore. Like I don't tell people that. There's even stuff that I don't fully agree with. But it's part of somebody's culture. I'm not going to tell them they can't do it. There's a line somewhere when it starts to hurt a human being. Of course, you can't use culture as a justification then. But when we're talking about what we should be talking about is talking about conservation and how to conserve the game and that kind of thing. Because that's usually their concern is that we're going to hunt them all out, which I have yet to meet a hunter that wants to hunt them all out.
Yeah.
Except coyotes. I have met a lot of hunters that would like to hunt all the coyotes out. But I have met a lot of people who feel that way.
True. Coyotes get a bad rap a lot of times. But a lot of times there are problem coyotes that need to be removed. But a lot of innocent populations that just get whacked and stacked and tossed in the ditch.
It goes both ways. I would like to... I like them. I think they're cool. I also know they eat calves. But
I like coyotes more on that principle than anything. I think coyotes in the suburbs and stuff is probably a positive thing because they'll eat the shit out of feral cats.
Nobody thinks about how much damage a feral cat's doing.
Oh my God. They're one of the most, there's been studies on it. They're one of the most destructive animals. They've wiped out entire species.
Yes.
Because they are an invasive species.
Yep.
We brought them here. They weren't here initially.
What species?
Various species.
Come on, Nate, throw it on.
I don't know any specific ones, but I know various species of songbirds, rodents, other, like, used to when, like, going and visiting new islands, you were usually going to bring dogs and cats and rats along. And those three combos killed a lot of shit. Killed a lot of various amphibians, reptiles, birds, because there was a lot of flightless birds or a lot of birds that had really large eggs, especially between like 1,000 and like 1,500. There's
nothing that'll make a tomcat happier than a flightless bird.
Amen.
Yeah. But yeah,
and then that paired with like us going on the island and just whacking and stacking them ourselves, a lot of stuff just didn't. I mean, that's why we lost the moa in New Zealand. That's why we lost the dodo bird. There's another.
They probably tasted too good for their own. Yeah.
The elephant bird. There's several other that kind of like resemble like seagulls or like penguin type birds.
Big chickens. You see the size of that chicken?
There are some big chickens, and especially in Asia.
Yeah.
There's a couple breeds that get over 2-3 foot, and I'm like, I don't think I want a chicken that tall.
Those giant guys.
They're little dinosaurs.
Brahma roosters.
I thought birds. Birds were kind of like, not the coolest animals. And then I learned that dinosaurs didn't go extinct; they evolved into birds, and I was like, oh. This made birds way cooler now that I know they're just dinosaurs. Oh, yeah.
That's why chickens are so cool. Chickens are one of my favorite animals.
Yeah, they're the closest living relative to a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
They act like one. They act like a little Tyrannosaurus Rex. I mean, I got a friend who he'll eat rats.
Yeah,
and he'll put them into a barn that's full of rats, and they'll just tear them up. The other thing I wanted to ask you is like, I'm real fascinated with these cur breeds, all of them. I like them all. I think they're all cool. Mm-hmm. And they're multi-purpose, utilitarian breeds. Same reason I like some of the village dogs that the Hadzabe are running and stuff like that. I love that they're multi-purpose. They're utilitarian. You can run cattle with them. You can tree raccoons with it, tree squirrels with it, run hogs with it, blood trail deer with it. I like the idea of having one breed of dog that can do a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. And how do we preserve these bloodlines? How do we? What can we as young guys do? Me and Nate's age, or a guy like me who's never been involved in this, but I'm getting involved because I want to preserve it.
Don't make the mistakes that guys my age made. What I mean by that is like the puppies I have right now, all young dogs, like that's a whole nother class. And I'm not, it's not bragging. I promise that I just got lucky.
Yeah.
Like you don't get that. And I do. And I got it. So you got to share it. Mm-hmm. Used to, I wouldn't. I was like, I'm not going to do all this work and then give it to somebody else for them to dump it out on a bridge.
Yeah.
It's still going to happen. So you got to love the dogs in front of you. You got to love those dogs, and you got to keep those dogs. Hmm. You got to breed. You got to be careful on how you breed, and you literally have to be honest with yourself. Like, this dog is not going to do what I want it to do, but have I given it enough time? You know, don't be too quick to cull your dogs. That's one thing I would say. If you get in a good bloodline, maintain that bloodline. Be very particular who gets the dogs, but make sure you put the dogs out there for other people to have to keep these bloodlines going.
So you can bring back to it later.
Well, if you don't have a heavy enough population, within 10 years they'll be gone. And like I said, it's one of those things, you're going to have the bad parts of it too. You're going to have people who's going to get them dogs, and you're going to be like, yeah, this guy right here will work, blah, blah, blah. And he's going to start breeding that son of a bitch to everything in the world and try to put his name on it, blah, whatever. But those dogs will speak for themselves.
Yeah.
You worry about what you're doing and maintain those dogs. And then out of the 10 people you send dogs to, probably three or four of those will do right. So you're still doing good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's about the preserving them. You're going to have several out there in order just to get one or two.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, and hunt them. You got to hunt them. You got to hunt the dogs. But like I said, you got to be honest with yourself. If they ain't going to make it, they ain't going to make it. There's going to be some that's going to start real, real early. And then you're going to look at it, the ones that sit right beside it and be like, well, why aren't these doing it? They're just not ready. When you give them enough time, they'll kick on. They'll start. Now, once you get past that year and a half mark, you get past 16 months, 18 months, and they don't have any interest. That's up to you then. It's like, how much time do you want to give it? You know, I don't mind giving a dog that long, but after that, it's got to show interest. It's got to show something. Yeah. So that way I know I'm on the right path. Also, know what you're breeding for. Do you want dogs that you don't want to wait a year and a half on? You want to breed for quick starters and dogs that hunt deep, dogs that'll open up on track, or dogs that'll be quiet on track. Know what you're breeding for and stick to it. But never be scared to change. Never be scared, because if you have dogs that work real, real good for 3 years, and then on your 4th year, man, they're not working that great. Then your 5th year just don't seem like they're working at all. Hey, you got to do something.
Yeah.
That's the biggest reason I feel like we have been successful, because it's been hard, because I didn't want to change. I did not want to change at all. Like, I was like, nope, but we have to, because we do not live in a game-rich environment where we're at right now for hogs. Like, we just don't.
Yeah.
There's few and far between, but it makes good dogs. Our dogs are going to go hunt and have to hunt hard. And then when we go somewhere else and there is a lot of hogs, it tends to be a little easier for them.
Yeah.
So that's the type of dogs that I'm wanting to breed for. And that's the type of dogs that I want to continue on. And so that's where Nate's going to go with it. So everything that I'm doing, me and him are working together on, and eventually I'm out of it. He's going to continue it. So he gets a guy like yourself that's wanting to get into it and says, okay, look, here's you a couple of dogs. We're going to get you set up. When you get to where you're hunting and you're producing game and you understand how the hunt goes and how the dogs work, then you call him, y'all stay in touch, and you talk and be like, man, I really think this little female's doing extremely well. Then he says, okay, well, I got her uncle over here. Now let's breed them.
Yeah.
If you get these bloodlines from somebody else, don't start trying to reinvent it. Work with the person who originated that bloodline, because they're the ones that put it together. There's a reason why it's good. I 100% feel that way. If somebody started it and they done it, there's a reason why it worked.
Yeah.
And it's at the source. It's at the source where it started. So go back to there and work with those people. That's how you'll preserve it. And so if when I'm gone, he's going to know all the stuff that I already knew and pass down to him, and plus more. Because if you're not trying to make the next guy better, then what are you even doing? Whether it's my son or whether it's my friend. If you're not out here trying to make the next guy in line, a dog man, better, then what are you even doing? You're not helping nothing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've learned so much in just like this weekend. One of the things that was like super key was you talking about the moisture in the air. The Hadzabe kept telling me, come back in the wet season, we'll get more game, because it had been real dry out where we were at. And I thought
that's worldwide.
I thought it had to do with and they got quite a bit of game, and it was cool seeing it. They got Hyraxes and bush babies and mongoose and vervet monkeys and finches and all kinds of things. But it was dry. They were saying we'll get a lot more when the wet season comes around. I thought it had to do more with, food resources not being as much during the dry season, which could be part of it. But but it's also hard on their dogs. Mm-hmm. It's hard on their dogs. And it was wild. talk a little bit about some of the other hunting that you would see. One of the, I was walking around with some of the kids, and they were showing me how to make fires with 2 sticks. It's pretty cool how fast those kids were with it, because it would take me probably all day to figure that out. And then kids, they've been doing it so long and do it every day, they can do it in less than 5 minutes. Like really fast.
Sometimes it takes me to start a regular fire with a lot of 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it would take, like they are quick. And I was timing them for fun, But every time I'd turn around when I was trying to film this, every time I'd turn around, the youngest kid that was with us, he's probably 10 years old, he'd nail a finch out of the air. He nailed some out of the air, some out of a tree, but he'd nail them with his bow and arrow. Like, and that's some amazing archery skill.
Yeah.
That, again, we talk about dying
with primitive weapons at that.
Yeah, you don't need a fancy piece of equipment, or they don't. Like I was looking at their bows, and I'm like, this is really not much more
stick and
string. Like there's not even a whole lot of carving that goes into it. Like I watched them make some, and I'm like, there's not even much carving. Like it's just they're just that good with their equipment that they don't need anything fancy. And we talk about dying traditions. Find somebody here in America who can do that. Who can take a stick and a string and nail a finch, a tiny bird.
There's a couple, not many.
There are not many, and this is a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a couple, but there's not many.
I could not get it on camera because it would always happen so fast. I couldn't get it on camera. Next time I'll try a little harder. But that was.
I know Tim Wells is definitely one, but there's not a lot.
Yeah,
if there is,
find me a kid that can do it.
That's what I'm saying. If there is somebody that's under the age of 16 years old, here in the U.S., I'd like to see it. I'm not saying that they're not, but I don't know any. I haven't heard of any. Seems like you would hear about it.
I never really thought about eating a finch. They're so small. These little songbirds that they were killing were so small. I'm like, well, what are they going to do with them? They eat everything. They don't kill nothing and don't eat it. They were shooting them, and then they get a good pile of them going, and then those boys would have them a snack, and then they'd move on to something else, or they'd throw it to the dogs, and
dogs got to eat.
Yeah, dogs got to eat too. I watched a guy shoot a bird's nest out of the tree because, when I asked him why, it was full of eggs and baby birds, and he shot a couple of them out. And I was like, why are you doing that? He's like, my dog's got to eat. We've been out here a while. We've been out here all day. They ain't ate nothing. So he had to feed the dogs, which is something that like we would think of like from a conservation standpoint as being a really bad thing to shoot a bird's nest out full of baby birds, but they're surviving. So this is how they live, It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see that aspect of things as well. A guy that's willing to shoot a bird's nest out to his dogs, and that kind of thing. Also, dogs that are predominantly self-sufficient. So, like,
they earn their own meals.
They
go find their own meals.
They'll go find it. Yeah, when they don't keep them on a chain or anything, they're just running loose.
So here, that's the way a lot of it used to be.
Yeah,
and you had way better dogs. Like you had dogs that could roll, but you just left them. They weren't in a kennel or on a chain. Yeah. Once they got to where they'd stay gone for 2 or 3 days at a time, then you might tie them up for a couple of days. Then you take them hunting because now they're pissed off because they've been tied up. Now they're gonna go hunt even bigger. Yeah, and that's how I'm talking about years and years ago. And if I could let mine run loose, that's what they'd be doing. Yeah. But, the world we live in here, it's hard to do it without getting your dogs ran over or somebody stealing your dogs. We got to worry about that stuff.
Well, I wondered why the dogs just would hang out because I've talked to people here in the States and they say, well, if you didn't chain them up, they'd be gone. Mm-hmm. Right? If you didn't chain them up or keep them in a kennel or keep them in a yard that's with a tall fence, like they're going to leave because they're going to go find something to hunt. And I wondered why that didn't happen to the Hadzabe. I asked them about it, and they said, well, the dogs like being here because there's predators out there,
Yeah.
and they like having the backup, so they're not going to wander too far. But one day I got there to go hunt, to go follow them on a hunting trip again, and we're walking through the brush, and I see it, and I don't see any dogs. I'm like, where are the dogs today? Like, and then they just start whistling, and the dogs come out from under the trees in different places.
Yeah.
And the dogs know we're going, and they will whistle or make the sound of the animal they want the dog to hunt. They'll make it sound. They'll copy a monkey sound, or they'll copy a guinea fowl sound, which they call a gunga. But they'll copy that sound to get the dogs to chase that animal.
I bet that's pretty cool to hear mimic the sounds.
Oh, worse,
especially from a guinea.
Not worse than that, but funnier than that is some of the birds. I would ask the kids what kind of bird it is, and they'd make the sound of the bird. That's the bird's name. Or as I was told, that is the bird's name. That's what they call it, is its sound. Now,
so how do those kids get their names?
Oh, a lot of that was funny too. A lot of the kids are named after whatever animal their father killed the day they were born. Mm-hmm. So if your dad killed a kudu, they don't call it a kudu, they call it something else. But your name would be a kudu. They'll name you, be like naming a bull whitetail.
Nate's name would be a bald beaver.
A bald. Oh damn!
That would be Nate's name.
Oh,
Chunky monkey.
Me. Yeah, killing me. But
no, that's pretty cool though.
They'll name them that. They'll name them like after the animal that their dad killed most recently. So that was kind of cool to see. And I kept trying to it was funny because that got lost in translation at first. I actually have it recorded. He's telling me something, and the guy is translating it. And what the guy was saying is, he's like, "What's your name? What's your name?" And I told him my name, and then he kept saying his name, and he kept saying the name of the animal, and I kept getting mixed up until someone explained it, and he's like, "He's trying to tell you that he is that animal. That's his name. It's the same as the animal because it was killed the day he was born." And it's pretty cool. I'm sure they might have other names for those birds, but that's what the kids told me it was called, was the sound. I thought that was pretty neat, And then the dogs are trained that when he hears a monkey sound, when you make a monkey sound, that's what he needs to go chase.
That's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive.
It's some pretty impressive dog work because they'll do groundwork, they'll tree, they'll chase monkeys or baboons and fight with them. That's a tough animal to be messing around with.
Baboons got some fangs.
They got some teeth on them.
Oh yeah, baboon got some teeth.
How big are their fangs? 3 inches, 4 inches?
Easy.
Yeah, and they love wearing the you'll see guys wearing baboon skins with the fur still on it, and that's like a point of pride is to wear a baboon skin. You'll also see guys wearing kudu, but that's how they show off how good of a hunter they are. Is they'll show you, look at my shirt, this is, and they'll leave the fur on there so that you know what it is. And even though it's pretty hot out there, you wouldn't think people would want to wear fur.
No,
but he's got to show you.
Gotta let you know what's up.
Yeah, he's got to let you know.
So what months did you go?
This would have been, let's see, I first got there in May, and then I was I want to say it was late June or early July. I think it was early July when I got out there to the Hadzabe, because I went to Kenya for a while and I was staying there for a while. And then I went out to find the Hadzabe and then went back to Kenya for a while.
Gotcha. So was that summertime or out there? Or
it would be considered it depends on where you're at. On the
or do
coast,
they have seasons like that? Or is
it's
it
just wet and dry. It's
Okay.
wet and dry. And and it's interesting how when I was on the coast, they said it was the wet season. And then when I got towards the interior where a lot of the Hadzabe live, they said it was the dry season there. So it's interesting how that works too, because whether it's wet or dry can change very quickly, depending on where you're at. It's not a set season,
It's pretty wild.
So that was cool, and saw the migration of a lot of different animals, saw the wildebeest migration and all that. That was on the Serengeti. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
What's the wildest stuff you seen while you were there? You think?
I saw
As far as like with animals, go with animals.
I saw cheetah cubs eating
Pretty wild.
and killed gazelle, and got real close to some lion cubs. Got some cool videos of that, and I didn't get it on film, but I saw lions kill a wildebeest. That was later on, but I saw that
pretty tough.
too. That was pretty cool. I saw a couple of buffaloes get into a fight, Cape buffaloes get into a fight, and I'm pretty sure one of them didn't make it out of that. I'm pretty sure he killed it, but I wasn't going to go over there and check. Yeah, I want him to not be dead, get up and
I trust
me
you,
over.
buddy. I trust you, buddy. You whooped him.
yeah. I was looking at it. I'm like, I think he's dead. And I kind of wanted to get a little closer, and I was like, that's probably not in my best interest.
I'm good over here.
It's probably not in my best interest.
Yeah, that's a Cape Buffalo's a bad dude.
Yeah. Yeah. One more thing that I'd like to bring up before
Yeah.
I talked this over with Nate. But my friend Mike runs an organization called the Foundation for African Empowerment. He's from Tanzania, born and raised out there. He runs, and this organization runs a school for Maasai children. And Maasai children, a lot of them live very, very far back in the bush in remote areas, and oftentimes don't have as much access to education as other kids do. So this is a charity project that he started, and he's done most of it out of his own pocket, to help these Maasai kids go to school, and particularly young girls who tend to have sometimes have less opportunities to go to school, depending on where you're at in the world. And this is one of the cases where it's really important to provide education for young women. It's a great school. He's doing everything he can to keep it secure. He has and to also provide an opportunity to educate the mothers of these girls and boys, and then include them in teaching classes as they gain more education. So you'll see the mamas in there helping teach, and that's beautiful too. It's a one-room schoolhouse, a lot like what was done here many years ago. A lot of our grandparents probably went to a one-room schoolhouse.
Oh yeah.
You know, so his kids of all grades there, but he's trying to expand it. He's trying to build a bigger school, add more facilities so that he can help educate more children in that area. And I wanted to bring it up in case any listeners wanted to donate. I donate myself to it. And Nate said he'd put a link.
Nate to put a link in.
Put a link in the description, so that he can so that anyone who would like to can donate to this.
Yes,
Help him put up he's trying to put up another building so that he can do help some of the older kids. You know,
that's cool, man.
You know, because right now I think it's mostly would be considered an elementary school by our standards.
And the thing about it is, like, when we here where we're at now, and we're in the U.S., guys like myself, we see something like that on TV, or something. You're like, oh, man, they ain't doing nothing with that. You've been there, you've seen it, you know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, and I know that he's done.
Mike's doing this stuff for real.
He's done this out of his own pocket. He's a safari guide and a lawyer, and he's done this out of his own pocket.
So this man, he's a hunter as well.
I don't
think safari guide.
Safari guide. He doesn't hunt. I talked to him about it. He don't hunt. He's not against it. He just don't. You know?
Well, if he's a safari guide, you know what I mean? He's still out there dealing with wild animals.
Yeah.
Doing similar stuff we're doing.
For the tours.
I've been a safari guide this weekend.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. Like, we went on some hikes.
Yeah.
You know, I've checked these dogs out. Look at them. That's the way they look. I don't know what hogs look like. We've heard them. We've heard them.
Yeah.
No, guys out there listening, if you can, it'll be a great thing to do. Yeah. It'll go to use. It's not some bunch of junk, not no scams or none of that.
I'll vouch for his honesty. I know the man. You know, I've been to the school. I've seen it. It's there. He's done most of this out of his own pocket. He's got his own kids to feed. I think he's got 7 or 8 of them. and
It's pretty tough there.
yeah,
by itself.
he's God-fearing man, like very, very, very much so a God-fearing man.
That's cool.
You want to see some people that are on fire for Jesus. And I know a lot of the listeners here probably would like to see that. You want to see some people that are on fire for Jesus. I have not seen anywhere that holds a candle to Africa.
Really?
I have, and it's everywhere I've been in Africa is like that.
That's cool.
You will find some people that really, really love God. Just about anywhere I've been in Africa is like that. And it don't matter it don't matter what religion really, because is it Catholic, Protestant, Muslim, like they're on fire for it.
That's ready to do it, huh?
I mean, it's beautiful to see. You can't walk down the street in Mombasa on Sunday without hearing gospel music. There's nowhere you could go to hide from it. Like it's playing everywhere, and it's beautiful and wonderful. Like I've heard a lot of stories about missionaries going out to Kenya. A lot of when I was a kid, they talked about that a lot in church. After going there, I kind of feel like they ought to be sending the missionaries here. Like they, the Kenyans ought to be sending missionaries to America, save some souls here. That would be. But
yeah, that'd be great there, because it's one of those things that's.
If you want to be effective with it, I mean.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of people that even talk about stuff like that anymore, especially on platforms like this.
They're
scared to talk about Jesus, scared to talk about God.
And
I don't get in depth.
I probably shouldn't be. It might be one of those things that bites me later for talking about it. I don't care though. If that's what prevents me from getting a job somewhere or something Christian, like that, if that's what prevents me from getting a job somewhere like that,
you can't deny. You can't deny.
Yep,
that's the thing about it. I know I am. But man, I mean, you had an adventure, an adventure of a lifetime already, and I mean, you're still a young man. You got a lot of life left to go. Kind of curious to see where to be once you do get dogs. And start doing some of this stuff.
It's coming. It's coming as soon as I got to get me a house where I can keep them.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing about it. I'm going to keep you on the right track best I can.
Yeah.
I'm here for that. But there's other folks out there that's more than willing to lend an ear, lend a hand, or whatever. Like Mr. Plummer, you can call and talk to Raymond about dogs, hunting, anything like that. And he's going to say, "Oh, brother, let me tell you, old Blue Boy was a bad dude."
Well, that's the cool thing is like when I started wanting to preserve the history of American foodways and like that kind of thing, when I started wanting to write about that type of cultural practice and talk about that kind of stuff, I tried to contact a lot of people through social media who do different things. Different types of hunting, different types of, gathering of ginseng and stuff like that. The only people who really wanted to talk to me were houndsmen. Houndsmen have always been the most receptive group when I was trying to find people that I could interview and talk to and find older folks that I could talk to about this who've been doing it a long time. Houndsmen were always the most receptive to it. They were like, "Hey, let's talk about it," And I think part of that is because a lot of them know that like this is a tradition that's under attack, for modern political reasons and that sort of thing.
And it has been.
Yeah.
It's an occurring thing, a reoccurring thing. You've had people that have had to deal with it in certain areas for decades. And now it's here. Like nobody messed with the Southeast really. They were like, "Oh, them hillbillies down there ain't we blah blah." But now I guess we're the focal point.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, bear hunting and stuff like that. We have had a few victories. We've got some bear hunting back down in Florida. Yeah, we've got some deer dogging back here in Alabama. So the unification process is working.
Yeah.
And there's it's so weird because you hear a lot of the old, I ain't gonna say all of them, but you hear some of them, they talk about the younger guys. Mm-hmm. And then, you got the young guys talk about the middle-aged guys. The middle-aged guys talk about this one or whatever. Quit talking about each other and look, let's work it together and get something accomplished, because the opposition, they're together already. They're on the same page.
Yeah.
They are united, and they are out to get us. So we can argue amongst ourselves. And while we're sitting there arguing on Facebook about whose dog sucks, well, they're actually in Congress up there speaking.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference.
Well, I mean, the deer dogging's a big one. Like I was talking to my dad about that one. And I've talked to other people about it. And a lot of people in Texas, by and large, seem to be against it.
Yeah.
But, they're against it because they don't feel like it's fair. They don't feel like it's good conservation, that kind of thing. And what I always tell them is like, you can find videos on YouTube of guys talking about it, your podcast and other podcasts, where there are guys who have a bloodline going back 200 years or more of deer dogs. That's a long time. What right do I have to tell a man whose family's been doing this for 200 years that he has to stop because it makes me uncomfortable? Because I don't like it. I don't think it's sportsmanlike.
And the thing about it is, a lot of those people,
I don't have any right to do that. I'd go home, deer dog, but but look, I have no right.
A stand hunter has told me the same thing, and I'm like, you're putting corn in a feeder, sitting in a stand, ambushing it. Like, deer does not know anything's coming. When we pull up, he hears everything, and he's like, hey, this is fair chase.
200 years ago, there was no commercially available tree stands. You had to build your own if you had one. There was no compound bow.
Nobody needed a compound bow or tree stand. You had high American foxhounds.
You had
walkers. You didn't need all that junk.
You didn't have no game cameras. You didn't have no automatic feeders.
Didn't need it because we go find them.
You didn't have any of that. And nobody sits there and says that those things are not sportsmanlike. Or I don't hear them say that. Not typically. You don't hear the deer hunters say that.
No, you're not going to hear anybody talk about that. Like, oh, hey,
but
look at my camera. That buck's there right now. Let's run up there and shoot him in the head. Yeah. Does everybody do that? No. And who am I to say that you can't do that?
No, I won't say that you can't.
That's right. But don't say that I can't do what I'm doing either.
But if we're talking about fair chase, and we're talking about tradition, we're talking about doing it the old way. There's no older way to hunt deer than running with dogs, besides maybe what we would call, what anthropologists would call persistence hunting.
Walk them to death.
Yeah, chase them down until they die, which I ain't doing.
No.
Even the Hadzabe ain't doing that.
I asked over here in these hills.
I asked the Hadzabe about that. I was like, you ever run them down? Because someone told me that they, and I got to ask these questions. When someone tells me something, I can't just accept it. So someone told me that they persistence hunt, and I asked them about it. Just curious if anyone still did it. One old man said, yeah, a long time ago there were people that did that to kind of show how macho they were. But it was never, his lifetime has never been a common way of getting game, and probably hadn't been in a very long time. Yeah. Even those guys don't want to run a gazelle to death.
No.
Like they're gonna use a dog. And or they're going to still hunt it with their bow. But they don't have no blinds, no commercial blinds. They don't have any of that.
No, and then, like I said, it's a lot of it's misinformation.
Yeah.
Propaganda.
A lot of it's outright propaganda.
And, they talk about, like, with the hogs, and we've been over all this stuff several times, well, the hogs do all the damage. No, they don't. Well, this one does all the damage. No, it doesn't. All of them do some type of damage. Some do more than others. And it's going to depend on the numbers are going to depend on which way they need that to go.
If you had asked me when I first started hunting, or even a few years ago before I found your podcast, right? If you'd asked me what I thought about hogs, I'd have told you we should kill all of them and get rid of them, exterminate them, because they were a introduced invasive species that wasn't supposed to be here, and it's bad for the ecosystem, and they got to go. But where do I balance things, right? Because when you got people, the hogs have been here 500 years. When you got people that have been hunting them for 500 years, at that point, that's a pretty big part of your culture. 500 years is a long time. The Spanish brought them here. So if you go back that far, then people
Any
been doing
person
it this
living,
long.
any person living, period, has had to deal with it. They've been here since any person was living. You know what I'm saying?
Anyone who's alive.
Anyone
today,
who's alive, yeah. Anyone who's alive, no matter.
Not only that,
If you're that, so those
going
hogs
back
have
to your
been here.
great grandfather before you'd find someone who
Hmm?
never had to deal with them. You know,
Yeah.
like so at that point, you're talking about a long-standing cultural tradition that 500 years is. There's languages that aren't 500 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, languages. There's entire cultures that exist that are not 500 years old.
Yeah, but that's how it is. That's that propaganda speaking for you.
Yeah, so I was wrong too, and now I want the hogs around.
And you can manage them
Yeah.
like that to an you on your personal property. That's if everybody's doing their part. Something as simple as barring a hog, castrating a hog, to keep it from reproducing. It gets bigger. It doesn't travel as far. Stays more in one locale.
Yeah.
The meat's
That's
phenomenal.
That's another one I'd like to talk about briefly. Is like the idea of barring a hog and then cutting his ear
Mm-hmm.
to mark him. That's definitely a dying tradition.
Oh yeah.
And that goes back. I've
Well,
read
not
stuff
spoken
going
about
back. I've read
anymore.
stuff going back to the 1700s.
Well,
You know,
it still
may have been older
happens.
than that.
It still happens. I know quite a few guys that do it every day,
I'd like to talk to them
but
about it.
they're not
for
going
sure.
to talk about it.
Hmm.
Very few are
Yeah.
going to talk about it because it's one of those things. Like in a lot of places, like here in Alabama, I know guys who do it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's illegal.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You're not supposed to do it. They're not going to talk about it.
Wow. Yeah,
And that's what sucks.
I would like to talk to people that still do it,
Yeah.
and figure out how we can preserve that tradition. That might be a real good way to get rid of some of this. What's that plant that's growing on top of everything out here?
Kudzu.
Kudzu. That might be a real good way to get rid of some of this kudzu.
Mhm.
Bar them and drop them on a kudzu field.
Maybe.
I mean, that's an invasive species.
I wonder which one will win. They do it with goats.
Yeah.
Well, a hog will dig up the roots.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
A goat will dig up the roots.
Yeah, a goat won't, but they'll eat it.
Yeah.
And I know a hog.
Maybe we need to bar a bunch of them, dump them on a kudzu field.
We've been preaching that for
Pasturing hogs.
100 years or better.
Pasturing
Really?
hogs is becoming more and more of a standard in a lot
Yeah.
of hog farming. A lot of people are getting into pasture raising hogs instead of trying to start like hog barns, and they're doing more of the heritage with the homestead hogs, like
Yep.
Mangalisa hogs, coons, different things.
That's cool.
So
That's real cool. I'm seeing a lot more people free range chickens too.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think overall, all of it will take time to really learn systems that are most effective. But, everything takes time to transition. You can't just done today, new thing tomorrow. Everything just sadly takes time. But I think a lot of farming is heading in a better practice like that, in a more regenerative side of things, working with outside instead of taking outside. We made it inside there instead, and then just falsely manipulating it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I think you're right.
It really is getting to where it is. It's not as much of a common practice as it was 100 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but it's way more of a common practice today than it was 25 years ago or
Yeah.
30 or 40 years ago. Pasturing hogs, raising hogs, or having go green,
Yeah.
all natural, free range, no all this stuff.
Yeah, used to most things were just free range.
Exactly. So, I mean, I can remember like there was a guy, J.L. Muscatine, had a hog farm, and his hogs would be in everybody's crop fields. They're like, damn. So
A lot of people that are free
you
range.
would go get them and run them back up there in their pen, block the pen back up. He had a hog pen is all it was.
Yeah.
But later on in the year, after crops are done, they're picked, they'd have old timey hog killing.
Mhm.
And we lived in a little bitty small town, and everybody in town got some pork.
Good deal.
because those pigs would get out and they would go hit the peach orchard or they'd hit a pecan orchard, and they caused a little damage here and there, but everybody reaped a reward. And so we had a guy not long ago that came and bought a table from us. It was a big stainless steel table. And he started out with like 8 or 10 little homestead hogs. And now he said he did 60 something. And he's processing and doing all of it. 60 something this year already, and so it's become a business. People want to eat better. They want to have healthier food. A lot of people want to do it. And you can't get that from a big hog house where they're raising hundreds and hundreds and pumping them full of steroids. Same thing with chickens and all this stuff. You can't eat healthy when you're eating that shit.
Well, we've lost the ability in a lot of our breeds to be able to free range them. They've bred them for the factory farm setting. And I've talked to people, especially when I was living in California, because that go green stuff is real important to them. There's a lot of people raising backyard chickens or even free range chickens if they're out of the city a little bit. And the problem that they keep having is their chickens die. Their chickens can't live on free range because they've been bred not to. They've been bred to survive in a small pen like that. And you're seeing a lot of success with people who are raising something that's more akin to a game fowl. And you when you go to places like Tanzania or Kenya, you see these birds that look like game fowl. And most of the time when you ask them about, what game fowl, what I was familiar with a game fowl doing, like a cockfight, a lot of them don't even know what that is. There are people, I think, along the coast who do, but for the most part, they don't. But their chickens definitely look like what I would consider a game fowl look, But they're not using them for that. They're using them that's their homestead bird. And that was oftentimes here the homestead bird. He may have been used for something else, but
you might have a little Kelso sweater right there, or some McLean, or yellow leg or green leg hatch.
Something that wouldn't be legal, and I would not approve of today. But
But at the same time, like you said, those were designed
for the line.
They were designed for
just like a bulldog,
free range.
Yeah, just like a bulldog. Like they were bred for one thing. You use them for something else now. And they're preserving those old lines of fowl, by encouraging them to be more of a homesteading bird.
Yeah, and it's a good thing. And to me, if people can get on board with that, then they should be able to get on board with the hunting part of it as well. They should be able to correlate, like, okay, because that goes hand in hand. Just because he's out there running around the yard, you can't throw him in the pot while he's crowing. You got to dispatch him. That's the hunting part. It's no different than what we're doing.
No.
And so that group of people there, they're a little more receptive. And I've talked to some of those that have never, ever hunted.
Yeah.
Well, now they hunt. I'm not saying it's because of me, by no means, but they have grown into it. They're like, hey, I'm raising goats. I'm raising cows, raising chickens, doing all this. And, it takes a while for a calf to grow up to big enough to butcher and all that. And what do you do in the meantime?
I've had
lots you go deer hunting.
I've had lots of folks call me from college that were they're very left leaning, very, very liberal, very anti-hunting, and have called me over while I was in college, and now that I've gotten out, I still get calls. People saying, "Hey, how do I get my hunting license? How do I take hunter safety? What kind of shotgun should I buy? Things like that. Wanting to get started. And some of these guys were vegans, but they realized that, hey, there's an ethical way to do this. There's a more ethical way. I would argue that hunting's more ethical because you might not get him. If it's farming, you're always going to get him.
And that's
wanting to talk ethics,
Yeah, because there's some people who are really, really good, and it seems like it comes easy. It's second nature to go hunt. And I'm talking about people that haven't hunted, that like they understand the process and they research, or they find a mentor and they learn the process and they learn how to do these things and they succeed at it. And then you have Others, it's harder.
Yeah.
So it's not successful. And so there's a big portion of the time where, and you'll hear it said time and time again, on even guys that wear them out all the time, all the Instagram guys, the Facebook guys and all that, that's always posting them pictures.
Mm.
When was that picture? And that picture don't happen every single time that you go. That's why it's called hunting and not killing.
Yep.
I mean, that's the brutal form of saying it. That's why we call it hunting and not killing, because you don't just go out there and catch something every single time. And there's been times where we've been on a roll and I was like, man, we can't miss. And it lasts for a year. Then the next time it's like, gosh almighty, are we ever going to catch something?
Yeah.
And it's not just us, it's everyone. Like today we were talking about, like, man, this morning we done scouted, found a spot, and I was like, this place is loaded. And we get there and we can't buy it.
Dentry.
Yep. And then we talked to other guys and they're like, man, it was a rough morning. And I'm like, oh, y'all too. Yeah. And it wasn't in the same area, all over the state. It just happens, it just happens.
I'm glad I came on a bad weekend over a good weekend.
Yeah.
Because if I had come on a real good weekend, because like I said, guys, I don't have a lot of experience with this. So if I had come on a real good weekend, we had knocked out 20 hogs.
Yeah. Something real easy. You'd been like, oh, this is too easy.
I would have gone back to my original opinion that, like, this is too easy. It ain't right, know? And that was how I felt at one time. But all these conversations with the folks that I was studying with out there in California, like, those conversations often start with, well, hey, this is a part of my culture.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's a part of your culture, too. You're an American. Someone in your family was a buffalo hunter way back in the day. Someone in your family was a trapper.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been in this country any amount of time, and if you hadn't, I guarantee you, your ancestors, wherever you were from, they hunted too.
Yeah.
Someone did, or you wouldn't have made it this far.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I start talking about it from that perspective, that wins people over more so than yelling at them, more so than even making the grocery store argument. That tends to win people over. And some of those guys hunt now. I need to go out and hunt with them, but
yeah, no, that's a cool thing. Like, literally, it's to see somebody transition from all the way against it to, like, participating in it and being an active member.
Yeah.
Of our society, of the hunting community.
Yeah, one of them a couple days ago sent me a picture. He had shot him 2 teal. Just 2 teal.
Well, that's a huge step for somebody who doesn't believe in hunting.
But you know what? I was not there to help him because I hadn't been back to California lately. I mean, he figured this out himself. He didn't have. He said he didn't have anyone to help him. Yeah. I explained to him briefly over the phone like how duck hunting works, and he did some YouTube, and then went out there and did it, and made it happen. Cool. And this guy was a vegan 6 months ago. Like,
to me, that's amazing. To me, that's what the advocacy is. To be a good steward and a good advocate, you're doing something right. The process that you're using is completely, totally different than what I would use. Mine is, I'm just going to grab you and smack you a few times and be like, do it. and yeah, that doesn't work. But at the same time, it's like,
there's time and place for that one too.
Yeah, but I don't believe in violence. No, but it's like, there's ways to do this. And this is a discussion I thought we'd never have to have. But I feel that it's very important for us as hunters to know how to handle these situations, talking to landowners. I go over these things all the time. Well, you got to deal with that. You got to deal with a guy from Canada that's living in Alabama. And when I say he's in the middle of nowhere, brother, he's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, old white boy Rick, the only Canadian.
I was like, it looks like he's on his porch. And he's like, I got your dog. And I was like, oh, yeah, he is.
And he was cool. Like, he
went and tracked down the only Canadian.
Yes, the only Canadian in Alabama. That guy was.
That's all we caught. That's all we caught this time.
Yeah. And but that's what I'm saying. It's like, you never know who you're going to run into. So you need to be ready all the time to be able to handle these situations. Some folks don't think it's a big deal. Now, what if you'd went down there and that guy pulled a gun, or if he'd had already shot the damn dog or something crazy because he's a lunatic? How do you handle that? You need to know how to handle all these situations, especially guys who are that are new to it.
Okay, so what's the right way to handle that situation? If
What?
you had shot the dog.
Just call a game warden. Just call the police right then, because you're going to do something stupid.
Yeah.
And 90% of people are going to say, well, I'd shoot that son of a bitch. And yes, I understand. I promise you. But the best thing to do is, if there's any altercation at all, get in your vehicle, get away, back out, go over here, get to a public place, sit down, make the phone calls to the proper authorities, let them handle it. Is it going to be the way you want it handled? I don't know. But that's their job. Let them do their job.
Yeah.
Now, if you're out in the middle of nowhere and he walks up on you, you have a right to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Depending on what's happening, the altercation at hand. That's always what it's going to depend on. Just because somebody walks up on you don't give you the right to act a fool
Of course.
and whoop somebody or try to shoot somebody or done that. But if they come up there with malicious intent, you have the right to protect yourself. If I'm out there hunting on my property and somebody shoots my dog, it's going to depend on where I'm at when he does that as to how I'm going to handle it. There's going to be consequences for every action from both parties. That's the thing about it. People don't understand. They don't want to put that in their mind and set it. They're like, well, he did this, so I did this, and I shouldn't be in trouble. Well, there's always consequences, whether you feel like you should be or not. There's laws, rules, and regulations, no matter what, and we have to follow them. Just like that idiot does that's going to try to shoot your damn dog, or that does shoot your dog. Best thing to do is go ahead and just say, look, let the authorities handle it, move on. You know, that's the best way I could say to give good, solid, sound advice, because everybody handles things differently in different parts of the world. I can put it that way. Because like if you're here, I know people that have got shot literally in a gunfight in the middle of the woods over a dog. That's no way to do that. Because like, you know, what about your family?
Yeah. Hey,
that's a great dog, but some people, that dog is everything. My dogs, some of mine are like that. And me and you were talking last night, and I was like, I'd go as far as I need to go for some of my dogs.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few of them I'm like, you know, they're new dogs. They're just starting. They're like, some of these are staples, and it's my everyday life.
That's how you're living.
Like I count on those dogs. Yes, exactly. I mean, that's like, but that'd be no different if somebody stole my truck. If I'm out hunting and somebody stole my truck, I'd call the cops and be like, hey man, somebody stole my truck.
Yeah.
But like, it's against the law to remove a tracking collar off the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It's against the law to shoot a dog.
Yeah.
So you already got a couple of things on your side right there.
Yeah.
So don't make it any worse.
Because that's what I think a lot of people worry about especially me, worry about about getting into dogs is, okay, I got this dog. I love this dog. I start getting attached to this dog. And now I'm putting him in a dangerous situation. How do I keep that dog safe? Because I owe it to the dog. I mean, he's out there working for me. I owe it to him to at least try to look out for his safety.
100%.
You know, that's why these vests are so important. That's why, like,
tracking
collars are so important. But then the other thing you could run into is, like you said, landowners, that kind of thing. It's not always the game, right?
Oh yeah, that's happened to us a few times. Not like dogs get shot, but like somebody trying to be nice. See my dog on the side of a gravel road, and all he did, or he just crossed the road. Well, they'll get out, stop, and call him. Come here. Don't call him. He's running game, and if he's not running game, he's coming back to me. That's like with Rick going down there. That guy,
that was about to feed him, and I was like, "Hey, don't feed it." He had put him down a little paper bowl. He was either gonna feed it or water. I was assuming feed him because it wasn't.
If you do that, they're going to hang out. If you just let them do their thing, they'll go on.
Yeah, I saw a video on YouTube of some guy out on a dirt road, and he picks up this dog with a collar on it and everything, or I don't think he had a tracking collar, but he had numbers painted on the side of him, so he was clearly being used in competition.
Yeah.
It's a hound, and it's clearly on a dirt road out in the middle of nowhere. And he said, and he took it home, bathed it, washed it up, and he's trying to show, oh, I'm a hero, I rescued this dog. Well, I looked at it, was like, well, how do you know you didn't steal it?
You did steal
That's what you did.
Like,
you stole it.
Well, I don't know. He could have been dumped out on the side of the road. Like,
Well, if he got-
there's people who do that.
But
if
if
they're
you
not
had,
going to have numbers.
yeah,
on
they're
them.
not gonna have
No,
numbers
not
and
gonna-
stuff
But
on.
the comp guys usually aren't going to do that.
No.
There's only a few,
You'll have some pieces of shit out there.
Yeah.
That do it.
and it's very
like
rare.
you said earlier, dogs dumped out on a bridge.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that kind of thing happens. And that's what this
But
guy
that's what
was
I'm saying,
saying
that-
happened.
When
But
you
I
have the
don't think
tracking collars, numbers, or regular collar with a phone number and stuff,
Yeah.
that means I care about that dog. Now, if it ain't got nothing on it,
If it ain't got no collars, no
Yeah, it's-
numbers, then it's like,
it's
oh,
probably lost or somebody
probably
dumped it out.
off.
Yeah. It's
And
So
you-
why are you going to try to put anything identifying on a dog you just dumped out?
yeah. That dog's out there.
Because that's
working.
illegal too. Dumping dogs is illegal.
Oh, it ought to be. Yeah. And that dog is out there working. That's a lot like stealing tools off a job site.
Mhm.
I mean,
I know a few old boys that'll lose their mind if you pick their dog up while it's hunting.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I'm talking about lose their mind.
but I can also understand
Freak out.
how someone who's never been around this
Well,
might
exactly.
think
You
that they're
got-
helping. you know?
Exactly. That's what I
They
said.
don't know.
We've had people they were doing it trying to be helpful. See this old poor old dog. He's out here, man. He looks hot and tired and all this stuff, and we'll give him some water.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm trying to find this dog. I'm tracking him. We're going, and you get there and you're like, he's bathed. We got to get there. No, he's not bathed. He's sitting in the back of somebody's truck. So now we done went through all this, trying to get there. And it was, nobody had a malicious intent. Somebody was trying to be helpful, but they're not educated on the hunting dogs. That's not their fault. So you got to be able to handle that situation.
One more I'd like to ask you. What's the best dog you ever had for hunting?
As far as actual hunting wise, I've had a few that were all about on the same playing field. I've had some that were a little kind of lean more toward that.
You
I like.
that one dog that you're like,
Yeah,
that was best. One that you compare all your other dogs to later on. Because I hear a lot of people say that.
There's two. Lily was one of them. Lily was the best dog I've ever had, hands down. But as far as hunt, I'd say Bacon.
Bacon.
Yeah, Bacon was a bad little girl. That son of a bitch right there would make it happen
She was good.
every time,
Bay dog, catch dog.
depending on what I needed her to do.
Mm.
If it's a real big hog, I'd let her, she'd bay it for me. If I say get him, she'd catch him.
What about Lily?
Lily's a straight catch dog.
Straight catch dog?
Yeah.
It's interesting that both of those are females.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the next question I was
That's
going to ask
all
you.
I want is female.
Yeah, that's the next question I was going to ask you. Should a first dog for me be a female or a male?
That's up to you, really. You have to deal with several different things on both. Females are going to come in heat.
Yeah.
They're temperamental. Well, males are temperamental too, and they're going to piss on everything.
Yeah.
If you're going to have them spayed or neutered, then it doesn't matter.
I probably won't.
Whatever. And then, like I said, it's kind of one of those deals where I've always let the puppy pick me.
Yeah.
I've seen some, I'm like, dude, I love that puppy right there. That's the one I want, blah, blah, blah. And then here comes this little dude over here. And he comes up and he's trying to be my little buddy and he's wanting to play and roughhouse. And okay. And then when I walk off, he wants to follow me. So I let the puppy pick me. And whatever it is what it is. But I've almost every single time I go down a list. Pork chop. One of my hands down best dogs ever seen. Female.
Yeah.
Bacon. Female. Lily. Female. Bella. Female. Midnight. Female. Sally. Female. Jewel. Female. Sweet Pea. Female. I mean, we can do this all day. But then But then Dutch, Drago.
Yeah.
Then the ones you just this weekend, Rick, Tough, Kane, Fred, those are all males. So it's like,
Yeah.
I do feel like females tend to kick on a little quicker.
Okay.
But they can be it seems like they're way more temperamental. Like they want to be a one dog for you, not themselves.
They feel like they get jealous sometimes.
Yes. And then a male dog will want to be more a one dog for him.
Yeah.
Like they want to go hunt for themselves more than they want to please you. Not all of them. I'm just saying this is my experience and what I've seen in my time. But like that's why a lot of guys they're like, I like a female because it's like my little girl right here, you know, like she's my baby. They're going to try to please you.
Yeah.
And that's why I just do well with females. I really do. Some of them males, though, it's like these dudes are big power dogs, big country dogs. I don't know how many miles we put on yesterday. It was a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those dogs were doing it just because they want to do it. Just because they want to do it. I've had females where they would go out and hunt, come back, and I say, hey, look, go again. They'd go again. They do it. Come on, let's go again. They'd go again. I've had male dogs that go out and make one good cast, and they might be gone for 3 or 4 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
Come back, they're getting in the box, they're done.
Yeah.
Can't make them, can't ask them to do it. They don't do it. But it seems like that female, might sound weird to a lot of people, and there's going to be people out there that think it's bullshit, and that's
I think
fine.
I've heard most people say the other way around, that they prefer males.
Yeah, a lot of people do, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
They can prefer them all they want. Yeah, I can't tell another man what he wants to do.
Yeah.
That's his dog.
Yeah.
Your dogs suck. I can't help that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. The other thought I had is like when I'm first starting out, might be better to have a female because it's easier for me to find someone with a male that's willing to breed her than for me to find someone that'll trust me with their female. Where it's like, okay, they're gonna have a lot more questions and be a lot more cautious about my male dog.
You would have to
his
have
blood.
a phenomenal male dog, especially being new to it.
Yeah.
And people are gonna be like, he don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know you.
Or he ain't been doing it.
They don't know me.
Blah, blah, blah. You know, it's a million things. Unless you went and bought a big name dog and say, hey, I own this dog now. And then even at that, a lot of people are going to do it not for you to help you or any reason other than to help themselves. But having a female, yeah, you could, like if you got a female and you was like, hey, I want to stud the Rick. Okay. We'll stud the Rick. I won't pick of the litter. Just say.
Yeah.
Or you pay a stud fee. If you pay a stud fee, you got all those puppies. Mm-hmm. Now you just went from 1 to 5 or 6. You pick out the best 2 or 3 you want to keep. Now you got a whole pack of dogs.
Yeah. That's kind of where that's kind of where my head was at.
Yep. I mean, and that's just, not everybody thinks like that. And it doesn't mean it's right. And it don't mean that it's wrong if you don't. I'm just saying these are things like some of the guys I know, we think of these things beforehand.
Well, I already know that once I get rolling with this, it ain't going to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things that's like, I don't know, like hot rods and cocaine.
That's
like,
right.
Once people get started on it, they don't stop.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
You just keep going. So
Yeah.
we'll see what time we got. Yeah. Oh yeah, we are almost 2.5.
Damn.
Pretty good. So, well, I mean, I feel like we covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Stuff that's kind of new to the podcast. Stuff that's explained in a better way than I can explain it. And plus some good stories from the adventures.
Yeah.
And seeing
Hopefully I
somebody.
can take y'all with me next sometime. That would be cool. I'll
Listen.
be going back.
My goal is to apply for my passport for
I
Christmas.
think I got to find a
by myself.
loincloth big enough for my ass.
You
That's
don't need
gonna-
one. A lot of them are out there in blue jeans. A
That's
lot
what-
of them are out there in blue
Bro,
jeans.
I'm going to wear a loincloth, I promise you.
I
I'm
think
gonna
you
do
just
that
want to
here.
show your nuts.
Everybody knows I'm nuts. We had to get Rodney Bell one. We'll have to get Uncle Rodney one. It'd be like one of those beach towels covered in that moose knuckle.
Yeah.
All right, man. Sebastian, thank you for taking time and doing this. Appreciate you coming and hunting with us, hanging out this weekend, and being open-minded and not just making a rash decision on propaganda.
Yeah.
Actually coming and doing it, putting your money where your mouth is. That's what we need more of.
Nobody is immune to propaganda, including us.
Oh, exactly. 100%.
100%. I've fallen for it many times.
Exactly. And that's the thing about it. We all would like to say, hey, we're better than that or we're smarter than that. No, like we don't know.
Hey,
you don't even know it's propaganda until it's too late, bro.
Propaganda don't always mean it's 100% false. It can just be misleading.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
sometimes
right.
it's all good lies come with a grain of truth.
Amen.
But
It's a truth.
It's just not the truth.
Yeah, that's Uncle Pat for you. Hey, guys, we appreciate y'all listening to it. Oh, what you got?
One more thing. I just wanted to hit back on that.
Mike?
Mike at the Foundation for African Empowerment.
Yes.
The school is called the I'm going to pronounce this wrong. It's the Asa Lilai School.
Okay.
And there'll be a link in the description if you decide to donate. I'll vouch for Mike. He's a God-fearing man. He's going to use your money for what it's intended for.
Yeah.
He's going to do a
We
good
encourage
part.
it.
These kids need an education, and it's hard to get. It's too remote of an area. They need some help. And this guy's doing the work.
Yep.
So,
And then seeing little things like that. So that way when Sebastian and Nate go back, or Nate goes up there with Sebastian when he goes back to Africa, they can go over there to the school, meet some of these kids, and be like, hey, they had a hand in doing this, and you listeners will be the ones that had a hand in helping. Not just that, like I said, it's one of those things, it keeps all our heritage alive here by being able to have somebody like Sebastian out here in the world to try to put all this together to show, hey, this is part of their culture, their tradition here in the South. You know, it's one of those things that I feel like is at the furthest end of the hunting world.
Yeah.
Like everybody's concentrates on hunting, the dogs and the game. But what about all the stuff that makes it go round?
yeah.
That's what we got to look at, because that's where it's at now.
Yeah.
That's where we're at now with it, to keep it alive, because if we don't, it's going to die. It's going to be over with, or it's going to be a rich man's sport and can't nobody fucking do it.
Many countries have already lost it.
Yep.
They've already lost it.
Y'all make sure to keep up with us. Make sure to follow us. Y'all check out the Patreon account. Y'all join up on that. That'll be one good way y'all can help us continue on to bring you content and to do the things that we do for your entertainment. So until the next time, we'll see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed that episode. If there's anything or anyone you'd like to hear on the podcast, or if you'd like to come hunt with us, don't hesitate to contact us at dixiedoggers01@gmail.com.